How long have you guys been doing it together?
The podcast?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know if he was with us when we first started. This is about a year and a half, so this will be episode 47.
Let's go.
Yeah, which I'm really
awesome.
excited about. So yeah, and we were doing one a week, and last summer we just got super busy in the business for like 5 weeks, so we missed a couple episodes. But yeah,
Dude, I had to go digging. Like I was like, yo, give me the whole scroll. Give me where we have to be getting. Show me the middle.
Yeah.
So
it's been
it
fun.
was great. No, I think you've done an amazing job.
Thanks. It's been cool doing it in Billings because one of my favorite things about this place in general, being from Boise, is that places like, I'd say Boise's probably on like the entry level of this thing, but it almost like there's like red tape to get in front of the people that you want to get in front of, right? Like in Billings, you can be a phone call away from the VP of the biggest banks here or the biggest marketing people, or like it's very accessible. And I think that people are very gracious with their time here. Whereas bigger cities, I feel like it just takes so long to try to get the relationships, like get in front of those people. So I think that this has probably been one of like the coolest places to start a podcast because you get real people who aren't full of themselves for the most part, and they're gracious with their time. And they're like, yeah, I'll come and tell you my story for a little bit.
That's cool.
It's been really awesome.
There's a younger demographic of business owners I see in Billings than I'm out. They're still pretty heavy, what I would see is in leadership versus what you'd get. And so I think a lot of that is you're getting people that understand the power of telling their story, wanting to discuss the other side, because it's very relatable. Like what makes us, or what makes a customer want to engage on any of our products is like, how do we relate to you? Like, what's the narrative?
Sure. Yeah.
It's just beer. It's like, not that cool.
Yeah.
But what is cool is, you know, when people walk into our facility and I give them a hug, I hold the door for them. Mm-hmm. That's hospitality. That's more than that. So I see that with, you know, the Skelzies, Hannisons and what she's done. You know, I can't remember the gentleman you had on, just like discussing overly analyzing.
Oh, Levi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relatable, like grind, like go get it.
Yeah.
But he did it for his customer base. So
one of my favorite concepts that I try to remind myself of all the time is that most of us aren't in the business that we think we are. Like you just mentioned that, yes, we're selling a beer, but I think that just from being able to tour the facility and talk to you for a little while, it seems like you guys are in the business of a lot more than just beer. So how would you guys describe the business that you're actually in versus the product that you sell?
Sweet wife, I am so grateful to punt.
It's all you. You're the leader.
At the end of the day, is the customer is our boss. They vote every day, whether it's our food product, whether it's our engagement socially with them, whether it's multi-market conversations and being in other markets and how we relate. So the customer at the end of the day still votes. And I tell this to our staff all the time, and it's so critical, which is like, when you go to Disney World, what does Cinderella do? Like we are paying for that experience. So for us, like whether we make a beer, we always try to find that customer base that's looking for something just slightly different, something we can reach out to, but we have to have them buying into it. And so our narrative is so focused on serving that demographic. And I love Johnny Depp's favorite line. He's like, he came out one time and he was like, every one of you are my boss and you vote every day. And so I'm praising all of you at the Grammys. And he said that. And I was like, oh, Johnny, what a grounded wisdom thing for you to say, which is like, it's not about us. It's not about the beer. It's not about the brand. It's not about the label. It's like every one of those people that votes every day to drink a By All Means beer is a buying into that we're grateful for them.
100%.
Did I answer that?
Yeah.
Somewhat satisfactory?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's also about like, how do we deliver an experience to people, whether they're here, and that goes to like your Disneyland comment, because you've said, it's like in our handbook, actually, he says that like, think of when you're at Disneyland, you want to experience something amazing. And so whether somebody's here or whether somebody is finding BAM in Oklahoma or wherever it might be, like how is that bringing people together whether it's over food or beer, how can we bring people together?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think so many brands like expect you for them to be like bought. Like, you should buy my beer.
Yeah. I worked really hard on this beer.
Oh my
It tastes good. You should want this also.
Do you know who we are? I'm like,
That's not it.
every time somebody puts a post from Oklahoma, like, I praise them. I'm like, hey, thank you
Yeah.
for freaking taking your hard-earned dollars and taking a risk on a by all means product, because they don't have to.
For sure.
It's way cheaper to buy Old Milwaukee, and believe me, it's not bad beer.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you got choices.
One of the things that I found about this podcast actually is, I think it must have been in our first like 100 followers, probably. Somebody for the first time shared a post to their story, and I just like commented really quick, and I was like, thank you for sharing this. Immediately followed right back and started like this conversation about like, oh yeah, I'm so glad you're putting this stuff out. What's your what's the point of this whole thing? Blah, blah, blah. And now every single time that somebody adds anything that we put out to our story, I send the exact same message out, because it's just like you're saying, it's like, that's a vote where they're willing to put their political capital, their friendships, their relationships, and say like, I'm going to get behind whatever message that this person is putting out there. And that helps me grow too. And I think that that's such like, obviously it's different industries and all that kind of stuff, but just appreciating that like somebody made the actual decision to say, the thing that you're doing is something I'm willing to get behind.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like overlooked too often, I think.
It's all about relationships at the end of the day. Everything. I mean, every industry, don't you think it's relationship
When's
building?
the last time you were hugged when you walked into a restaurant? Like, Drew, you're here, brother. Like, let me get you your favorite beer. I've got your food made. Service is done. Like, relax. It doesn't happen anymore. And I try to tell our team all the time, I'm like, these people drove probably 35 minutes from all over Billings, Montana. They chose, by all means. When that freaking person walks in, give them a hug. Give them a high five. Give them a high five.
Or at least remember their order, their beer. Like,
Just give them a high five.
be
Like,
friendly.
thank you for choosing to be here.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because hospitality is still an industry in Billings, Montana, or even just in Montana. We don't have a huge base. Like, it's not like we got a labor pool of people that were trained in, Nevada. They come up here. We just don't have enough economics to hold those people in place. But I'm always talking to our staff. I'm like, they chose you. They could have chose Applebee's. They could have chose Chick-fil-A. Like, why do you not get excited to see that person? Like, I don't care what you do. Put it under pop bottle of champagne. You see 4 women walking up here, open that bottle and celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, they could have gone anywhere else.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
Disney World does the same thing. That's why I say it. It's like, dude, when they walk in, the first thing they do is they get those little kids juiced.
Yeah.
They know who's paying the bills. Those little kids run, and they go no naps, 12 hours.
Right.
I go 5 hours and need a nap.
Let's love these oldies over some churros and get after it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just listened to a podcast not too long ago with Will Guidara. Have you guys listened to any of his stuff?
He's Unreasonable Hospitality. Yeah. We
Some
like
of
that.
my favorite things about that is thinking about, I think he talks about like earning informality and the idea that when you walk into a friend's house, it's exactly what you said. Somebody opens the door, they give you a big hug. Hey, I'm so glad to have you here. Can I get you a drink? And it's so different than a lot of like how I learned business in college, where it's like very buttoned up and it's very professional. And here's how to shake someone's hand, have a business card. And I thought immediately, I was like, okay, every person who I've done the best business with and have the best relationships with in the business world, it's because it feels like I'm talking to a friend when I call them. Not because both of us are on our A game and we always wear a suit when we're around each other. And we like, so how do you earn that informality? And I've been dying to ask somebody in the restaurant and hospitality industry about that. How do you guys reflect on that kind of idea?
Trust. First, you have to have the baseline trust. Like, you should see my text message to like our beer distributor guys that are boys. Like, yo, get this done. To people I'm not comfortable with. Hey, you're walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
But Will's book on Reasonable Hospitality, we talk about, it's like, first day of training. You're hosting Thanksgiving for your family. What's the music like? Is your back turned to them when your mother-in-law walks through the door? Are you greeting them at the front door? What is is your house clean? Are the pillows fluffed? Is that table dirty? And are we still cleaning up from lunch?
Right.
So we set that precedence, and it's so critical. It's like, I always tell them, I'm like, you're hosting the party today. everybody that's paying here is willing to come to your house party. And I say, when's the last house party you've thrown? And like, you just see all the servers blush. All the girls are like, I never. Why? I'm like, no. Wrong response. I'm looking for the person that's thrown 10 house parties in the last year.
Right. How many beer bongs are above your fridge right now?
It's a legit question. Sometimes it's not needed a good answer, but I think it's a legit question, which is like, service is A to B, which is button up tie.
Yep.
Can I present myself in service relations? Can I deliver food A to B? Who can be the most hospitable? Who can see Drew walking through the door and understand, as he's 30 seconds parked his car, understand that he's going to be at the door in 27 seconds. I've got his beer poured, and I want him to realize this is his home. It's not my home. This is his home. And to that point, it's like,
have you read Will's book?
Just his podcast so far.
Yeah. He quotes that one of the best people he ever interviewed, which he says he didn't go on to hire her, or one of the best answers to a question in his interview was something along the lines of like, what is hospitality to you? And she says, and what's the difference like between hospitality and just offering service? And she says, service is black and white. Hospitality is color. Like color is going to go the extra mile to do anything for somebody to make them feel comfortable and taken care of. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you're at a restaurant, you're going out, like you want an experience, you want to like kick back, relax. That's like the beauty of it, right?
100%.
To enjoy the experience.
One of my favorite ideas, God, this is just the freaking salesman pitch for Dara's book right now. But one of my favorite ideas of his is that once they brought in that position at their restaurants of, I don't know if it was Dreamweaver.
Yes, Dreamweaver. Yeah.
When they brought that in, it went from, oh my gosh, we have to do so much at this restaurant, to giving people like the autonomy to be able to make somebody's day and do something that was above and beyond. You talked about how it shifted everybody's like attitude being at the restaurant of, okay, who's the one person that we can create a lifelong story for today? There's like excitement around that. I'm curious for you guys. It sounds like you're very intentional with hiring and with training about this, like we're going to make people feel like home thing. How have you guys seen staff that comes in who might have worked for other places or not worked in the hospitality industry before? How do you see their attitude and like their day-to-day vibe, I guess, change from the way that you operate?
Are you eyeballing me?
Yeah. You're here the day-to-day with staff much more doing training and all that than I am. So I think you can speak on it better.
So incredibly difficult because it's a total mind shift. Like they're thinking they're showing up for a job and delivering food.
For most.
97% of the field thinks they're delivering food, and that's their expectation. And typically in hospitality and our Montana base of employment is like, it's either not your first line. I'm like, yo, I want to be the general manager of this incredible 5-star Michelin star restaurant in Billings, Montana. There's very few people that come in like, my expectation is I went to get a hospitality degree and I'm going to rock this place and we're going to turn it into this.
It's not always aspirational here.
Totally. And so it's like you look at people coming in the door and you're like, I want you to host a party today. And they're like, WTF? Like, what kind of party? And I just got to deliver this burger, right? That's the hardest part, is getting people to see the opportunity ahead, which is like, yo, you can take the gloves off. Like you can make somebody's best day. And that's something I wish we had, or people would be liberated by, but it's been extremely difficult. I mean, we've been in this 6 or 7 years and we've had several people that really attached to it, but certainly the minority. So it's always talking to them like, you're hosting the party today. You'll see your employees and I'm like, yo, you're in a ballet, right? There's 12 of you on stage. You're all dancing. And all of a sudden, one of the people in the ballet pulls out their cell phone, starts texting real quick, says, hey, nobody's going to see me. There's 11 other people playing this ballet. Everybody sees you.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, and the person that paid $350 to come see you at that ballet ain't coming back.
For sure.
And I'm like, you may not think that nobody sees you behind the bar and the counter, but everybody in this restaurant is looking up.
Yeah.
They're looking for what's the score in the game, what's going on around me. They're socially aware, and they're seeing that server that's 32 minutes late on deliverables, texting. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So to your question is like, if you can find those people, they're gems, they're wonderful. And if you can get somebody to see the value that hospitality creates, especially post-COVID, we've been shifted as a society to our phones, to our homes, which I don't mind. Like I love the nucleus of the family and being more involved at home.
Right.
But that just drives more of the reason why we have to be better in hospitality is because we have to give them a reason to feel at home when they leave their home. It's not like just going to Applebee's. You go to Pat's going to punch me. Pat, our neighbor, and their entire team's amazing. Pat's coming. I'm like, Chandler, I heard that shit. You're in big trouble. But yeah, let's go to all
a different towns. A different towns Applebee's.
They've got their training's fine tuned, but it's very black and white. To Lindsey's point is service is black and white, and hospitality is color. It's the pastel. It's how do you paint the picture that makes Drew and Lindsey go, this is the best dining experience I've had. And I always ask them, I was like, all right, here's your first interview. Tell me your best dining experience. Tell me a place that you went to eat in the last year that made you feel emotionally fulfilled.
Yeah.
Name it.
Shout out to Barbacoa in Boise, by the way.
Barbacoa.
Easy answer.
Super Barbacoa in Boise. Go in there.
I think it's also leaning into their strengths. So like Allie loves events. And so giving them the responsibility of something that is a passion of theirs can be helpful too. Like she's a great server, but you say, take the run with events, go, get the live music going. Let's bring experiences to BAM. I think that makes it fulfilling for her to do her job and grows BAM as a whole, makes us stronger.
Absolutely.
So, or Ryan, like he loves, like he's praised constantly, gets so many great reviews and whatnot. And so we all watch that and monitor that. And I think that kind of brings life of like, you're crushing it. Everybody knows that you're the guy who's going to have their beer waiting for them. The order. So I think that's cool too. When you find those people really leaning into their experience and what they're delivering and praising them for it.
Absolutely.
You know what it's like to build a team, Drew? Like you're a cash flowing business, you're acquiring new customers, you're trying to hire, but the carrying cost of like that investment is high on labor. It's like, how do you get all the right people in here if you're not doing, our 140,000 people in Billings outside? Like you put us in Phoenix, we have the same facility cost in Phoenix or in Montana, but we have 4 million people down there that have relentless money. We do $7 million in sales down here. We do a fraction of that here, but we're supposed to have the same service and hospitality as they do.
Right.
Goodness gracious. What an expectation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard,
yeah.
But it is our expectation. I mean, it is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for people who are watching, and I guess the people who are listening too, we're sitting in like a room with obviously like one of the final products of lots of manufacturing knowledge and chemistry experience and all of this stuff. I think that being able to talk about, hey, Anna's really good at events. And like, it seems like that's like the very, like the stem of the cherry on top of all of the things that you guys do. And it's really cool to hear because you guys have had so much experience with every facet of the business that allows you to talk on a granular level about so many different things. For people who don't know the story of BAM and how we're sitting in this giant warehouse right now, what context do they need to know to understand kind of where we're at today?
She's so going to
That's
look at me, isn't she?
She's like, you're going to do it again.
I told you I would. I'm like, I'm either talking with him or it's just him. I support you.
Well, and I want to make sure I understand that. You want me to go all the way back to Lindsey and I are not the founders or the thought process of by all means, like Mark Hastings in Uber Brew is. So this is really the origins of 2012 when Mark Hastings opened Uber Brew. He started in 2008. His real vision, he was brewing since 1992.
Holy cow.
Yeah, Mark.
Deep roots.
Oh my gosh, you want to talk microorganisms for 3? We'll save that for episode 52. Yeah, this is just episode 47. We'll get 52. This is going to be Mark's. Perfect. So the originations of, we got involved because of Mark. Like he could make product and talk and produce things that the typical customer wasn't experiencing. So like some of your top Michelin star chefs, same thing. Like you go to Vegas, you have a food experience, you have sushi and dumplings and all the things down there. You're like, oh, I'm never leaving.
Right.
The Wynn is where I'll be the rest of my life. So Mark in 2012, and I think people forget this, opens Uber Brew, kills it. I mean, just products that you have, the brewing industry has seen. Angry Hank, same thing, comes out. 2014, Mark's winning national awards with Firestone Walker. Firestone Walker is probably a multi-billion-dollar business. They just bought Stone Brewing for like $200 million.
Holy cow.
Mark's winning more awards than they are in 2014 and 15. They were praising him. Firestone Walker, this multi-billion-dollar company out of California, was literally praising Mark Hastings for some of the beer he was making at that time. And he's running a small location on Montana Avenue.
Right.
So he wins Small Brewer of the Year in 2016. He wins Alpha King, I think, in 2016 as well. Alpha King is invitation only. And the precedence is, can you make the most hoppiest social beer in the world? 100 brewers are invited in the world. Mark wins. White Noise wins 4 or 5 JBF Golds. Like, so the product quality is there. And so I want to make sure it's very clear, like Chandler and Lindsey don't make beer, but Mark Hastings is an incredible partner of ours. And we believe in his vision, his capabilities to get to some of the best products. And I want to make this very well known as like Montana is the epicenter of what makes great beer. And Idaho has very similar agriculture, but Montana State, Miller Coors, Budweiser, they've contracted a Great Falls area. They've been buying some of the largest grain productions come out of Montana. It's like, if you turn it to tequila, it'd be much sexier, which is like, you're like, oh, Montana produces the best tequila in the world. We find like grains are like so passive.
Right.
You go down to Mexico and like, hey, this is a triangle of the best tequila in the world. And people are like, don't touch it. It's worth billions of dollars.
Right.
Great Falls is looked at as like, hey, they make a lot of what?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But for brewers, I mean, Montana's like per capita, I think we're like 4 or 5 in the nation.
Yeah.
As the most breweries. And that's because readily available to the customer, we have some of the best grains and malts in the world. So let's preface that. If I were to go to Napa and I would say, hey, we're going to Napa or Washington because we want to drink wine. People should go to Montana, some parts of Idaho because we make the best beer.
Interesting.
And we forget that as people that live in Montana, we don't ask it, but there's been $100 million pumped into Montana State University in their genealogy program. They've been breeding malt or grain for the last 45 years to get the highest yield, highest profiles. And they've been crossbreeding for 35 years, all these to get better beverage products that Montana people get access to without even knowing it. They just think they're getting beer.
Huh.
And like, I always look at people, I was like, you don't know what the F is in that, do you?
Right, yeah.
I was like, I always talk to Mark, I'm like, he's like, did you check the spec sheet on that last malt shipment? I'm like, yeah, bud, I did. I was like, why do I need to check the spec sheet? He's like, see the proteins? I'm like,
pretty cool, right?
yeah. I was like, he's like, I don't know if we can use this one. We need lower protein levels. Otherwise we can get haze in this beer. I'm like, how does the protein levels affect the haze in the beer? He's like,
Such a science. It's
right.
He goes, Chandler, but what have I taught you? You going to use it or not when you send it back?
Right.
I need to work on the debits and credits here.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So you guys started with almost like this perfect blend of the best products readily accessible in our backyard, and then this mad scientist who knew what to do with them.
mad scientist.
Business is an engine. It's not one component makes an engine run. You need cash for fuel. You need a core or your main engine compartment, which is your production team. You need a sales department. You need HR. You need all these other components, marketing, brand building. Drew and I briefly discussed this earlier. It was like, tell me how you're going to build By All Means is branding. Like, how many years is it going to take you? We're going to go compete with Modelo. Mm-hmm. Like, how much money you need?
Right.
What do we need to get there? And we need to be in 8 states. That means I need to be flying back and forth between 8 states, meeting with distributors, and they got to trust me. How long is it going to take for them to trust me? So this business is not about liquid. Mark could have the best liquid, which we found out, because his competitors are worth hundreds of millions of dollars when you don't have the right facets of that engine. So we've been working diligently over the last 6 years, like building on components of that engine, revamping how that engine structure works.
Right.
And figuring out, hey, how do we get there in 25 years versus this is a get rich program and we're going to get there in 7 years. Right. What's ROI versus long-term asset evaluation? And that's where Mark's like, come give me a hug, bud. I just need you. We need you guys around.
Yeah, for sure.
Because for him, if you've been brewing since 1987 and you feel like you're painting Van Gogh or something else and nobody's noticing, it could be very lonely.
Yeah. A lot of those most famous painters died without anybody appreciating their work and never got to see himself.
Don't tell Mark that.
Well, clearly Mark has done all right with his vision. One of the things that I found really cool about your guys' story is for all of the things that went right with being in a great location, having great people on your team, you guys also faced a ton of adversity pretty much right out the gate once you guys got started. So talk me through your guys' first handful of years and what you described as like your trial by fire that kind of like was your initiation to this whole thing.
Lindsey, you don't get to punt on this.
You want me to take it?
I think from, you're my wife. Like you've been a part of this business ever since, from the very beginning. But I also think it's important, like people get to hear a different point of view. I can tell you the optimism and the Rocky Balboa side, but I think how you've seen the narrative and how you've seen the business and what it's gone through is maybe very fun for the viewer to hear.
Yeah, I think we all come from our own vantage point. But I think when I look back on it, so as we had shared with you, and to piggyback off what you were saying, Uber Brew was so successful. They were doing great. They had like the components there. And I think it's neat because most businesses, or oftentimes anyway, you hear like, oh, we started this because we were super passionate about it. And that would probably be what Mark would say. Like, but he had a passion and he was excellent. That wasn't our story. Chandler, being in commercial real estate and development, really came at this from the lens of like, this is a great business opportunity to get into. You know, I have the real estate. I have this group who's excellent at what they're doing. Like, let's merge that. Let's kind of spin off of what they created with Uber Brew and do by all means. And that's really how the whole thing started. And we opened the doors in November, both of us with the kind of the approach of like, I love design. So I'm like, oh, this will be fun. We can make it pretty in there.
You guys are both seeing a project that is like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, like in our lanes of like, okay, I'll put this deal together. That's great. And I'm like, I can help make it pretty. We love hospitality in our own lives. I mean, we love to host. He's actually a great cook in our kitchen, not professionally, but you can be professional.
Don't tell the staff.
I actually do. I'm always like, he's really good. But I think, so we saw the vision and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, what a fun thing to bring to our community. What a great thing to have in Billings. So that all aligned, but still, I think we were very much like, hey, we'll sit back a little bit. We'll be kind of more board level. We'll oversee everything. We've got this great team who's already proven they can do things. And we'll just help give them extra fuel to go create the next best thing. Yeah. And the doors opened November and the world, essentially shut down March. And so that was this huge pivot of like, we are months into this.
So you're not even 6 months in.
Insane. And that was like, It
was February. January, I remember we were talking about the spread of
we're like, what's
COVID.
Going on?
Yeah, it was January. There were rumors of something going around February. And then the shutdowns happened in March. So I was like 90 days in, large manufacturing facility. Yeah. And remember, in the beer world, this is an old school model. Manufacturers don't sell their product. We sell them to a third party who's in control of our sales. That third party can tell you if they will sell your product or not. And so if the grocery store shut down, which is usually about 60 to 70% of the business, restaurants make up 30 to 35% of overall beverage consumption. Mm-hmm. Restaurants are now mandated closed. And grocery stores are saying is like, oh my gosh, how do we get people in and out of our stores? And what are they buying? And how do we get out of their cars? But then think about it, as if 40% of the sales network just shut down.
Right.
And everybody has to get their product through grocery stores. How much is Budweiser, the top money guys, going to be like, that's our space? If I was them, I would say the same thing. Like,
right.
No, we are going to take that distributor and we're going to put promo incentives on them, saying is like, if you move this much volume, we're going to give you guys incentives for doing it. Little by all means, it's going to say is like, you want how much?
Right. So now the distributors have all the leverage to say like, hey, it's really competitive to get into these grocery stores now.
And the way distribution in a 3-tier system was set up was actually from the 30s in Prohibition. It was saying is like, we were trying to protect distributors from Budweiser coming back and saying, hey, let's go to a different distributor. So we have to, like franchise law with a 3-tier system, is manufacturers sell it to a distributor then sells it to a retailer. And then to get rid or fire a distributor, you have to give them a certain amount of notice. You have to give them time to change directions. And if they choose not to, like you could be 90 days. Well, that 30-day cash flow runs out pretty quick over 90 days plus lawyer's fees.
For sure.
So,
and you've got a lot of product that either hasn't moved. Now you got to store all of it.
Oh my goodness. And it's on a clock because beer is great. Beer is really great. Not within the first 1 to 30 days, but 30 to about 78 days, beer is, I think about it as like a flower.
Okay.
Like opening up.
Bloomed.
If you bite the flower too early or an apple, it has a little bit more tartness. It's not quite right. But really after that first 15, 20 days, beer starts to just take this crazy pastel curve.
Okay. So you guys are in a precarious situation going like, okay, grocery stores, like our restaurants shut down. We got to get into grocery stores and we're brand new.
The way I said this, it was baptism by fire. It was like, you had two options at that point. And I look at it as like, you are going to either fight or you're going to close and close fast. The way we had structured the deal, we had quite a bit of financial debt just because to get it open, you're predicating, hey, look, we've had historical sales at Uber Brew. We've got distribution of X amount. That's one location. We bring on the manufacturing here. We knew we were outsourcing a fair bit of revenue out to Colorado. We bring that in-house. We knew that we had a certain amount of fairability if the market stayed pretty good within the first 2 years to reach where we wanted to be financially. And when that happened, it changed everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a distributor in the world that was like, by all means,
we want you.
You guys have beer.
Right.
We know you have beer, but right now I've got a $70 million account on the line and they say they don't care. And I'd be like, yeah, I'd say that too. Shoot. I get it. So we had two options. Which was like, how much cash? What's the cash burn?
Yeah.
Do we set up our own distribution company? And do we go head to head? And so I did. We said, hey, look, I'm going to fund 2 vehicles, 2 guys. I'm going to take our distributor. Whoever sells more beer in the first 12 months, we're going to fund that round. So we did. We 2 guys, 2 vans outproduced our distributor. Rightfully so. It wasn't their fault. It's like their fire and their world's burning.
Right.
What are they going to do? They're going to take their most profitable SKUs, most profitable brands, people that can help them win.
Yep.
Not by all means. We don't have the financial resources to get to them where it was. So it was like, okay, let's fund 2 guys, 2 sales team. Go tell me if the customer base, the market base is excited about this different product, is excited about spending more per liquid ounce on something different and potentially more value. Mm-hmm. And they did. They were paying 25% over market, what they could get anywhere else for by all means. Why? Not because our marketing was the best, not because they knew us, but because the liquid was better. And they were excited about it. Mm-hmm. And so we looked at it and said, it's like, hey, our distributor did X, we did X. What's the business decision? Because we're only touching probably 35% of our overall tank capacity at the time. So do you want to build a distribution company? Do you want to fund in a total different new enterprise while we're still burning?
Right.
The more sales we do, the more manufacturing we do. So it's kind of like Rudolph leading the sleigh.
Yeah, you're right.
Like if Rudolph crushes, the more beer we're going to make.
Yeah.
Which also helps our financial model.
Yeah.
So the less beer we sell, the less people we employ, the less manufacturing we make, the harder it becomes. And it's almost self-repeating, which is scary, is because you're like, yo, if we lose sales, like we don't make the NOI we need to.
Right.
So how much of the front force do you supply or fund on the sales team? And there was times where we were running like, our distribution team was running 120% of revenue. We're going through 20% expenses, losses in distribution because it was fueling so much growth in our brand. Mm-hmm. What's the right ratio?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, boy, if I could do it over again, I'd tell you a better number. But
so when you guys are facing this situation, you've got, you're leveraged, you've got the excitement, I'm sure, of having the location, and you're doing manufacturing. To be 90 days in and have the world shut down, and you have this decision in front of you where either we climb this giant mountain and we decide to fight this thing, or sure, we're in this thing, but it's only been 90 days. Like, can we unwind this? What's going through your head at this point? Because that's like starting on a hike and just going to like a straight rock face right at the beginning.
it would be like looking at Everest and not knowing how many steps are between you and the top.
Right.
That was probably the miscalculation on my side.
So why'd you decide to climb it at that point? Like what went into that decision?
Mind if I answer this?
Yeah, it's all you. Yeah, the beginning's all. That's all you.
Yeah. If you think about beer, or you have a limitless marketplace, the entire world is your customer base. So if I think about Billings, Montana, which they've supported us an incredible amount, like if it wasn't for Billings, Bozeman, Missoula, and Montana base, we still wouldn't be in business. So don't get this wrong. Like, we owe it everything to the Montana people that have supported our beer over the last 5 years, because they're our epicenter. So I had a really big decision. I was like, well, you could be in Japan, you could be in Canada, Mexico. What stops you from accessing those markets or meeting that customer base? Like, how do you get there? How do you get the product there? Like, in 10 years, are we really going to be talking about the first two? Mm. And when you take a long-term perspective, is saying, I was like, did we start this to get rich? Or did we start this to build a 25-year-long company that has value? And if you look at wine, or if you look at spirits or t-shirt companies, I don't care. It's like most of the founders weren't like exiting in the first 5 years. If they were, their multiple was, I don't want to speak to it, because I'm not that smart. I'm sure I'm screwing this up somehow, but like their multiples aren't that great.
Right.
Like if the exit strategy was to get your money in and out, like fine, so be it. But like I've always thought about it, I was like, I would love to be able to travel to France. I want to go to California. I want to be able to sit down with the top vintners of the world. I want to have the top brewers of the world, our products in those markets. I want to take my girls here. And it really is a cultural experience being in the beverage or food side. So I was like, in 25 years, am I going to come back to Lindsey and be like, yo, I know I screwed up the first 3 years. Sorry. My bad.
Yeah, right.
Too many decisions, too much experience. Did we lose $1 million in the process? Did we overinvest? Yes. But in 25 years, are we making that $1 million 5X? And then do you want to do this for 25 years? Mm-hmm. And I really do. Like,
was it hard to zoom out when you were sitting there, or was that an easy thing for you to do? Lynn's
mentioned that I love to cook, and I actually love to host. Like, Drew, you come over to my house, and all my boys will tell you this. Like, when I cook, when I create, or when I do this, there's a sense of fulfillment. My mother-in-law, I'm going to throw her under the bus for this. She thinks it's my love language. She's like, Chan loves to cook for me. It's his love language. I don't, Laura. Sorry. All your mother-in-laws out there, like, no, your son-in-law. She's like, oh, Chan made us breakfast. And I love the opportunity to make people feel like, Every day we go through the dogfight. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, you could have the best life in the world, you still think it's miserable in some aspects. So I always love the opportunity. Like, even when I'm getting the tap room and it's rare, my focus is building the brand outside of Montana, trying to solidify our 25-year vision. So I spend a lot less time in the tap room than I used to. But when I get in the tap room, I'm always like, I walked by, gave Dan a big hug. Dan's one of our lead line cooks. He's just blue collar boss. He's just got this old school. He loves to tell stories.
Yeah.
First thing I do is run out there, give him a big hug, buy him a beer. Like, so, and maybe I should loop that back together pretty quickly, but I should ask you, what was your question again?
The long-term vision, was it hard for you to zoom out when it's 2019 and you're like,
yeah.
okay, the first couple of years is going to be rough, but 25 might be pretty great?
Yeah. To that point, is like, I believe that we can create better products. It is extremely difficult because how Lindsey feels is maybe she is not ready for that temperature of fire that you have to walk through to get there. And then duration. So yes, it is extremely difficult to weigh and measure because it's so much easier as humans for us to always default to what's simple.
Yeah.
Like, Lindsey has a successful business. I have a successful business.
Yeah.
Our kids need X amount. We would like a certain X amount, and that's fine. And so it is hard. But if you look back at the best creators in the world, I think they've always had a long-term perspective of the opportunity. And there's a generational change that's happening. People just don't realize it. Most of our CEOs and owners are in their 60s. Not many people think about is like, who am I going head to head with? I often thought about is like, who am I competing against in the beer industry? Not product to product, but relationship to tenacity. Like, can I go out and out communicate, out energize their sales network over somebody else that's in their 60s? Yes.
And especially the beverage industry, I'd imagine there's a lot of old guard there.
Super old. In the craziest cool way, because they're looking for teams. Like, we had Hensley Beverage president, Andy McCain, was just fishing the Bighorn a week ago. First thing I do is email him. He has no idea that I'm this young kid. Andy, I hear you're fishing the Bighorn. Is this true? Send.
Prior relationship or no?
He's never seen me face to face.
Okay.
But like, they're buying our beer in Arizona. Hensley Beverage is our distributor. So what happened is when Hensley Beverage bought out our distributor in Arizona, they have to contractually shift or basically do the distribution agreements. And so I get president, CEO, COO, VP of sales, all one email thread. I'm like, oh, bingo. Sorry,
I've got a new list of friends.
Yeah. Where do you guys vacation?
Yeah, right. You guys like to golf?
Yeah. And so we have great friends here with Watkins Distributing, and they're great friends with them. So like, Packy texts me, he's like, yo, Andy's coming up. He's going fishing. And I'm like, winning. And so I've never met him face to face. He probably thinks I'm a 55-year-old dude that runs this brewery or no idea. And so I just set precedents, and these are what they're wanting to see. I mean, think about it. If like you're a bunch of buddies that's golfed at the country club at 55 years old, 60 years old for the last 10 years, you're telling the same stories. They're looking for somebody that's going to be like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
Why are they blowing me up? Who's being aggressive? Why is he being so aggressive? And what's the tone? So I think there's a competitive advantage for 30 to 45-year-olds. Anybody who wants to proactively jump at the old guard right now in the business community can. Because they're not psychologically looking for it, but they are looking for somebody that energizes them. These are some of the oldest tigers that haven't sparred in a long time. I mean, that's in every department I've seen. Like, I'm shaking trees just because I know they're used to battling. These guys came up in the 90s when the beverage industry was on fire. And now it's kind of like mild out or flattened, and they haven't had a real scenario where somebody's like, I'm going to breathe down your throat. And they're like, yeah, but we don't sell any of your beer. I'm like, but you might.
We're going to change that.
Want to go fishing?
Have you been to Montana on the Yellowstone?
Right.
And this is a great story. So Andre, my buddy in Oklahoma that's helping us with the sales, runs Rock and Roll Tequila. I'll give him the promo. Bob Stoops Tequila Company. He's the head guy for sales down there. And he goes, I called the head distributor at LDF. He says, Ken, we're going to go fishing in Montana. I need you to sell this beer. You want to go or not? he goes, I know you like to hunt. I know you like Montana. I've got beer coming down here from you. Are you in or not? But it's like that conversation, which is like, Montana has so many qualities. He's like, Andre, why are you calling me? He's like, Ken, I don't think you realize I'm going to send you pictures. This is us in the Yellowstone, 4 months.
That's awesome.
Pretty fun.
So one of the things that we talked about a little bit before this is the misconception, or maybe like the wrongful like sale that Instagram and TikTok and all that makes, that says that you have to build your empire first. And then once you build your empire, it's like, okay, then you can start thinking about finding a partner, having a family, and doing all those sorts of things. The more people that I've talked to in person and not watched these like hustle porn Instagram videos, the more that I've found that almost all founders say like, I would not have been able to get where I am right now if it wasn't for being with my partner, some of which are in the business, some of which are the emotional support that just make it all happen. It sounds like you guys are in a unique situation where it was probably both. And so I'm curious from your perspective, being in 2019, 2020 and looking at each other being like, okay, we're about to do this. What does that feel like, having a young family, a new business, and looking at that mountain that you guys are about to climb?
Going into it, it was easy. I think looking back, I can confidently say I was very naive. Honestly, like I had seen his success with business stuff that he'd done. I had a very successful business, and, we'd invested in things, properties and different stuff. So it was an easy decision pre-COVID. And then when the world goes on fire and he's making a decision every day to continue to keep it thriving, it was absolutely scary. Very honestly, I think it takes a very special person to see through that kind of challenge. Every business, whether it's the world shutting down with COVID or something else, like you're going to see challenges. But I think there's certain people who really can see through it. I don't know that I would have, if it was just me, like if I had started this, which I don't know that I would have on my own. I don't know. I can't confidently say that I would have kept going, because I think the fear of everything probably would have weighed me down. But I think that his leadership and confidence and belief, like, I can do this. And he's he'll go text or call or chase after anybody. Like, you want this product. He has passion and belief, and you'll see it through. I admire that. So it was scary. And like we've said, it turned into so much more than just like one business. It wasn't just all of a sudden having like a tap room. It was, okay, we're going full force here. We're starting multiple businesses within a business. And the investment went from here to way up here. And so that can be very intimidating. But I think when you're doing it together and you believe in the other person, you just have to be like, I trust you. And I do recall saying, like, this will either be the best or worst thing we've done. It just felt like it was like kind of no in between. It was either going to be really great or we could be in trouble one day.
Yeah.
To all you married couples out there, this isn't like a once every 6 years talk. This is a quarterly conversation. Yeah. And I think it's important that you do have it, because like I said earlier, is like my level of fire and ambition of like, hey, I'll take temperature at 400 continuously doesn't mean Lindsey's temperature.
Yeah, that's true.
Is the same.
I need pep talks sometimes. Show me the vision again.
Usually after
Where's the PowerPoint? Give me the PowerPoint.
I need to know.
Usually after a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do want to touch on this, because I think people they don't think in durations of like, hey, 6 years. You're going to have a tough talk every 60 to 90 days. And it's just to reset expectations, because sooner or later you make a phone call and she's like, gosh, this feels heavy. Like this again. And you continue to hear it. It's like, it's not this again. It's like production comes, or productivity comes in ups and downs, but on a quadrant, on like, you go from 10 to 20 to 30, but in between there, you're going to have those ups and downs where you go from 10 to 9, 9 to 12.
Yeah.
And so like Lynn's like, yo, I need a pep talk. It's 8:30 and you want what, Doug?
Right.
I'm like, you want what?
Yeah.
And I thought Peter and Katie made an incredible point, and I want to re-articulate this. Like, Lindsey doesn't have to do marketing. She doesn't have to believe in this. I make her in the kindest ways. Like, I ask her to, because she has technical abilities that actually help our family, that help Mark's vision, and that help our product creation. Like, I lean on her and she'd be like, yo, I don't want to get this done. I'm like, okay, I understand this is not where you want to be or what you want to be doing this morning, but here's the value you're going to add. And here's the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Don't let this pass you by, because in 3 years from now, somebody else is going to do this. And you're going to look back and be like, I hate that product. I hate the way it looks. Mm-hmm. Like, people are relating to the things she's putting in context. So why pass it up?
Right.
And not every day that's like, hey, this was not what, it's like, it's not what I'm called to do. Like, I've got 4 babies. I want to raise my kids. And I'm like, yo, in 10 years, this may be one of the most profound things that you experience. Raise your kids, do it well, but also build something special. Mm-hmm. And so how do you keep that perspective all the time? Because the human instinct is like, how do I do less?
Right.
It's natural for all of us to be like, I've accomplished my task list. I'm going to take the kids for a walk. I'm going to pick up from school. We got our 15th dance recital this week. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's realistic. I think as husbands, or even vice versa, we have to push each other for the opportunity available. And that is very difficult conversation, not easy conversations. It takes a lot of wisdom to lead there. Mm-hmm. And it also takes a lot of displeasure, because it's not like Lindsey looks at me every time. She's like, oh, you're so right.
Right.
She, for the first probably 6 hours, mm-hmm. It's not that way. She'd probably be like, yo, I don't want to talk to you for the next 6 hours. Yeah. And then sooner or later I'll text you, hey, you're killing it. I love you. Get this done. And you'll see the fruits of everything come up.
For context of what he's saying with all this, I told you, like, I was excited about the pretty building to like help decorate, design. At one point he was developing a subdivision. I was like, let's do spec home. So design was always an element I loved, but like graphic design, I know literally nothing about, like right. No experience. I'd never touched Adobe. And so, you know, as we're progressing and
don't lose your thought, but I have to preface this. If you design a label, it's like taking a 3D house plan and squishing it into 2D. So for Lindsey's point of view, you're talking about 8,000 cut lines. When you pull it up in Adobe and you take a 3D house and it's got all this plumbing and infrastructure, and you smash it into 2D, and she's got to be able to design it, look at every cut line, and then send it to print. So it prints the exact same way 3D on our labels. Was a pretty big ask.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to learn this small task?
Right.
I think I did lose my train of thought though.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
You were talking about how you were excited about like designing the space, that you did some spec homes for like some neighborhoods and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it just was transitioning, I guess. I had a different vision of design and what we would do with design back in the day, building our own home, just various things. And then you have BAM, and we outsourced so many things, and everybody, you know, we hired all the professionals. And eventually when he was absolutely calling me to more, and like step in, get involved, mm-hmm. and for surely gave me the push that I didn't always want, but I received, and I'm like, okay, I can rise to that challenge. And I mean, with that, I will say it has been a massive growing experience. I mean, everything that we're doing today is things that 5 years ago, quite literally, neither of us had really no idea how to do. Right. So it has been a cool process. And I do think, to your original question with that of like build the empire first, I would push back on that entirely, because I think you need your person nobody believes in you more than your spouse does. And you need the person who's going to push you and stretch you and get you outside your comfort zone to make you grow. It's a good thing.
We were talking again a little bit before this about how when you come from a background where you've got... What?
I mean, one of that yellow can.
Oh, perfect.
It's the one part that we should be able to cheers each other to the 47th episode.
Cheers. So to have a situation where you have a successful business already, mm-hmm. on both of your ends, mm-hmm. where you go through COVID, probably would have been all right. Probably wouldn't have been in the hospitality industry. Probably wouldn't have gotten slammed like that.
All true.
To be in that position and then look at each other and go, no, we're going to become better for doing this. We're going to grow this together. I would imagine that there's probably some moments where you're sitting back being like, not only am I having to learn Adobe right now, but we could have not had to do this.
Oh, for sure. We had those moments.
I think every business owner goes through that who didn't go directly into business for themselves right away.
Yep.
And so as you're growing and learning all of these new things and doing all of that, how is your business relationship with risk and your marriage? All of those things are all expanding at the same time. So what does that feel like working on all that together where it's like, now we're in the fire together. Like we have to do this.
I think I was protected from some of the fire and that helped. I think I was very much like, tell me what I need to know.
Okay.
When it comes to the actual risk. And if I don't really need to know, I don't know that I want to know. I will just keep my head down and focus on helping in any way I can to propel this company forward. But there was a level of I don't need to know every detail.
So finding ways to establish boundaries for
sure.
each other where it's like, I can operate in this zone of genius, but you keep this stuff on your plate.
Yeah. Yeah. There's times where I'm like, I don't want to know all the information.
Yeah.
Liz wants to know that the bills are paid.
Yeah.
Her mortgage is paid.
We're growing.
She has a vehicle. And some of the things you need to have discipline and understand what they want to know or not. And it's hard to be disciplined because sometimes she'll challenge you, or it's normal for your spouse to be like, where are we at? Yeah. You get defensive and you're like, I told you these projections, here's where we're going to be at. And it's just not what we always forecast is never actually so. There's always X, Y, Z that have more expenses. And so what I encourage every founder and every business operator is go to zero basis, stop hiring, learn payroll, learn accounting, learn some marketing. You can do so much more, but the best thing for every business is NOI. Make money every month. You're investable, you're bankable. You are no longer putting your family at risk if you make money every month. I don't care. In this business in 7 years, I've had every person tell me, we need to hire this, we need to do this, we need to do this. I'm like, and I listened for a while and it cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. And sooner or later, be like, all right, who's the expert, you or me? And if you're the expert, then I'm going to get smarter than you. I'm going to learn more than you because it's costing my family, my wife, my life, time. And so I think a big deal of what every founder and every business operator needs to do is how do I make money? Nothing else matters. At the end of the day, does this investment perform or does it not?
Yeah.
We run a media company. We can hire 5 more content managers and do it. Does it make money? So we're going through $20,000 a month in cash. It's worth 0.
Right. Yeah.
So, and people get too aggressive and I have too much ambition, and ambition is dangerous, especially with debt. So I think everybody should look at our beer brand and say it has value, but it may have value to them even.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it aligns with their business strategy and what they're going to execute in the next 12 months. They have other things that need to get done too. So from the marital side, you need to be very tactful because putting her in a sense of vulnerability consistently and knowing that her little girl and baby boy have risk is not something that I would put on any couple or any person young in business. That challenge is for a 45, 50-year-old, somebody that has the ability to be I got big ass shoulders and you're going to take tons of abuse. So tons of abuse, not just from Lindsey's point of view, but somebody from the partnership side, somebody from the manufacturing side, somebody from the supplier side, somebody from the sales side, somebody from the HR side is always going to have an issue.
Yeah.
And so you have to have the mental competency if you're going to move into a business that's doing $3+ million or more to be able to weather those and understand prioritization. And prioritization is extremely difficult, and also departmentalization of what's necessary to share and what's not.
Yeah.
Not saying that I'm hiding things, but there's some things worth talking about, some things not. And also understanding what's valuable to Lindsey is not always. I find that a lot of people and some of my buddies are incredible. Those are your outlets.
Yeah.
Go to your homies that run businesses and be like, yo, I need a day to dump.
For sure.
I need to clear this system.
Yeah.
And it ain't for my wife to hear.
Yeah.
Specifically when she's picking the kids up from dance and she's right back and forth. She's like, hey, I had the worst day. You want to hear about it? She's like,
No.
no. So
How about no?
yeah. So for business founders, I don't care. Like if you're not, even some of my greatest buddies that I bought business last year is like, it's not like they're printing money.
Yeah.
They're grinding. You can look at, you don't make real wealth till you're in your 50s. You just don't. Debt's paid off. The engine's running. It's fine tuned. It's got castrol in it instead of olive oil. Mm-hmm. The engine works.
Yeah.
Right? People think that just because you own By All Means or who knows whatever their business, that it's easy. It's not. And it takes 20 years. Mm-hmm. It just does. Like run it out on your financial metric, put your growth at 4.6% year over year. So many people you can hire. It's one.
Yeah.
Not 5, 1.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can only hire one person. And you're still going to pay them shitty.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault, but until employees walk in excited to build revenue, it's going to be a grinder. Mm-hmm. There's very few people. And Lindsey should have left me 37 times. And that's not like in a rude way, but
No.
and I challenged her because she's capable, she's competent, and she has the keys to what the brand needs in every aspect. Mm-hmm. And so how do you as a husband navigate all the complexities of running a multi-state business, manufacturing, cash, and cash is so critical. And there's so many great partners that we've had that have worked with us in great times, bad times, seasonality, changes like Gallatin Valley, Montana Craft, people that provide us the best products are like, yo, we need you because you're the ones that take the product and turn it into art.
Yeah.
And then share with the world. So the better you do, the better they do. Mm-hmm. So these people have helped us in an incredible amount, but that doesn't change the variables, which is like, hey, you got 2 extra people on labor this month. Well, that's $12,000, $14,000. They drove, they had gas. It's $16,000 of cash out the door, and we made no sort of productivity of it. And you go to Lindsey, like, she don't want to hear that.
Right.
She wants to hear is like, you got it under control. You're the CEO of the company, and then you're executing. It's just, life doesn't work that way. Nor does business.
Right.
Sure, you know this. Like, run your own company. Like, we don't grow month over month, compounded annually or monthly, where cash flow is easy. Like, I just haven't seen a business, especially in founder mode, like, you should live in Austin.
Yeah.
Because it's going to give you the economics and 12 more storylines at a higher level and the business population to find that. Billings, Montana is beautiful in so many respects, but it doesn't have 10,000 people with a net worth of $5 million. We're a very blue collar, very ag centric economy. And I don't mean that in a bad way because it's the people that have supported us for years, but it doesn't grow as fast for the investment dollars. You put the same investment somewhere else in a major economic, you may be doing 5 times the value.
Right.
That doesn't mean I change it. It just means you're going to have tougher conversations to lower expectations on business performance over the 25 years.
One of the things that you touched on that I think is really interesting is choosing and like establishing boundaries around what are the things that you share and what are the things that you talk about versus the things that you don't. And it's something that's really interesting to me because I think today we put a lot of pressure on our business and then our partner checking every box for our life, right? There's a billion things on Instagram and TikTok and everything like that are like, okay, if you just get into drop shipping, then you can do whatever you want with your time and you're going to make all the money in the world and you're going to be able to live in Bali and blah, blah, blah. And you're also going to be spiritually aligned from it and all of these things. And I think that we look to business to be our recreation, to be our social, to be our fulfillment, to be our monetary gain and all of these things. And then we also look at our partner like, okay, well, you need to be able to be my business advisor. You need to be able to be my friend. And you need to be like a mother and all of these different things. And I think that what you touched on by saying there are certain things where you just need to know, yep, we're on track to, meet our 12-month goals and, a little bit of a rough day today, but we're all good. and then going to your buddies and being like, listen to what this fucking supplier. I think that's a really important thing, is to be able to like draw those lines and not expect everything to fit every single box. Absolutely. And so I'm curious how you guys reflect on that, having what sounds like established like pretty good roles for these. This is sandbox I play in. This is sandbox I play in. Like, how do you choose what that looks like?
I think I don't think it's different sandbox as much as it's discipline. Like, I don't go to my line cook and be like, yo, here's my financial issues.
Right.
Like, so you have to be, and I'll go to Peter Vanderlist, here's my financial issues. Like, Peter be like, so good, Griff. I got these stories from 5 years ago. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're a CEO or president of your company, like, understand your audience and understand the expectation. Like, I want a wife first before I want a business partner. You prioritize that, number one. And that's not always the case, because my expectations or what the business need may not be a wife first. It may be our marketing director first. And there are nights where she's up. I've seen her at 11, 12, 2 a.m. where she was like, yeah, I didn't see you at night. And I was like, yeah, I missed you last night. She's like, yeah, I'm going to get this shit done. And so the sandboxes is one. Two is like, praise the person that steps up first. Like, if she's going to rise to that business person, you celebrate that.
Right.
You reinforce those behaviors at the highest level. And then as the CEO or president of the company, and for you too, it's like, what's relevant, what's not. Like, do you want to have a good dinner tonight? Do you want to focus on spaghetti and the kids?
Yeah.
Don't bring your shit to the game. Like,
Right.
Don't bring your shit through the door. So I think it's more of like, as men or as women in the position, like, be disciplined.
Yeah.
You have to be super disciplined. Just because what's on your mind doesn't mean what's coming out of your mouth. And like, biblically and spiritually, like, and I've not always been the best at this, but like, controlling your tongue is the number one sinful thing you can do. Is like, you have to be able to understand, don't let your tongue loose. Because you could have a beautiful night. Your little girl could have just won 4 cheer competitions, 5 gold medals and whatever else. And like, you have to clear it.
Yeah.
And if I'm going into business, and I told you how much I love Peter and Katie's podcast the last 7 minutes. If you haven't listened to the last 7 minutes of their podcast, you really should, because Peter said, I chose Katie. Katie chose me. We are in this business together. I want nobody else. If you're going to do a startup, you need your spouse involved. Like, you should choose nobody else. Before you do a startup, you better look to the one to the left or right of you and say, yo, you in. Because you're going to need their qualities at some point in time. And it wasn't like we didn't have a marketing company at the beginning. We did. But Lindsey would come back like, that's not right.
Right.
She would look at them and be like, you may have paid them X, but that's still not right. And I'd be like, shit, I didn't see that. Like, my job was like, how do I get my checklist done? Okay, that's good enough. And good enough is like, we might as well go work somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's not going to win. Like, Budweiser's got way better stuff than we do. Their marketing programs, Modelo, Mark of the Fighter, some of our other breweries here in town, or even in the Northwest part in Missoula, like, they've been in business 25 years. Like, their teams are solidified. They're killing it.
Yeah.
They know how to promote. So good enough doesn't keep us in business. So founders going into this, they need to look at their spouse and be like, yo, you game to play this for 10 years. And if you're not, then, you really need to think about, like, because not just the fact that, like, they need to participate, but like, your intellectual capacity not to talk about business is very difficult.
For sure. Yeah. 100%.
First thing you want to talk about when you get home.
Yeah.
Talk to the missus, be like, yo, here's what I experienced. Here's what the opportunity. Here's where we're going in 3 years. Here's what I want. And she goes, yo, I got the kids. And I'm like, she's like, what'd you do today? I'm like, dang, total disconnect.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you can look at your wife and be like, yo, here's what I accomplished. She looks at you like, fuck yeah. Like, there it is.
I do think that's a cool part of it that I don't know that I ever even like expected. Working with your spouse often gets like a bad rap, kind of. Like, I feel like any podcast I listen to, everyone's like, oh, you work with your, they're like, that is so hard. And it is, obviously. We've said that there's many things that I'm like, I don't want to know it or whatever. We've certainly had to endure that. But I also think, like, nobody wants you to win like they do. And if you're going to do a startup, like, it takes insane time. And almost everyone says it's so much more of an investment than you ever expect it to be. So like, it feels like such a disconnect to me if where you're spending most of your time, especially at this season of life, is career and kids. Mm-hmm. And to do a startup or, you know, be a founder of a company and not to have your person involved in that seems like a miss. And it's not for everybody, but if you're going to invest that time and that money, I do think there is power to doing it together, even when it's hard. And even when you're like, I don't want to do that thing. Yeah. I do think it has brought us for sure closer. And I think there's a lot of cool parts to it of like, you're on the phone all day long because you're in that thing together. You're building that thing together and CC'd on a lot of the emails. So I may not know all the details, which I'm still fine with. But when it's like every, you know, label that's being made or collaboration, partnership that we're doing, all these different things, I do think there's something really powerful in truly like growing kids and growing a business together. Yeah.
So. One of the biggest benefits that I could see in having a spouse that's involved with the startup that you're doing is that they have an ongoing like context for everything that's going on. Totally. Regardless of what that means. Yeah. To be able to sit down with somebody and sure, you might not at the dance recital sit down next to your partner and be like, okay, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of everything that happened. No. But to be able to just say like, hey, how was your day today? And you're like, well, Bob, that supplier, like he's on one again. For your partner to like, to know what that means without having to catch up on, here's the 3 years of the relationship that's happened before that. And here's kind of the last 6 months of what this new deal looks like. I think that that's so huge because it gives you the ability, I would imagine, to be able to like talk about things in a way that's appropriate and where it like feels good as somebody on the team to be able to like offload that without having to talk about the whole thing or just like be like, well, I'm just not going to say anything because they would never know what I'm going through anyways. For sure. Seems like it kind of creates like that context creates a good balance.
For sure. I agree.
I'll ask a question and I'll solve it as well. So sorry for the self-fulfillment, but like when you had kids and you got married, you need to ask yourself, and there was in the 1950s through maybe the 70s or 80s, I don't want to say, but like there was a thing, I was like, you turn 18, get out of my house. When you get married and you have kids, did you choose to do life together? And like, okay, so here's what I want from my girls and my little boy. It's like, I chose to bring you into this world so that I could spend the next 60 years with you. I'm not building an ecosystem of financial gains for myself. I'm building it for us. Right. Like, I hope my kids are a part of it. I don't give a shit if everybody's like second generation as well. It's hard. They're spoiled. They don't know. They'll know. We're going to make it extremely difficult. They'll do business funds. We'll do small ventures. They're going to fail. They're going to fail their ass off. But the end result is like when they're 50, I hope they live in the same neighborhood as me. Like I didn't marry Lindsey so that we could live separate lives. I think this is incredibly important. It's like I married Lindsey to do life together. And this is critical. It's like, don't choose easy. Easy is not involving the other because they don't like Lindsey's, this is such a good point. Lindsey should have been an attorney, which I hate. She asks the worst questions. I'm like, ugh.
Like the best questions.
The most difficult.
The most difficult. Yeah. Like, and almost like threatening, like to me. Like I'm always like, and it's not like she's not trying to be. She's trying to get the right information. She's like, well, wouldn't you do it this way? I'm like, if I did it that way, I would do all these other things that would suck. Why?
That would make my life a lot harder, wouldn't it?
And I mean, simply today, she's like, this doesn't make any sense why you're doing it this way. And I'm like, yo, I know, but that's because you don't see all the details. So like, I'm going to walk you through A through F. Tell me if you do it differently. And that takes incredible patience. And a lot of times I don't have it because I'm usually being asked in 7 different directions. But at the end of the day, like, please, if you get married, do life together. I told Allie, I was like, yo, bring your boyfriend in. We got a huge weekend. Have him sling bears with us. Have him be a part of hospitality. It's like, he lives in a total different place. I'm like, in the 80s, you saw a different society in the 60s and 70s. Men made all the money. Women stayed at home, raised the kids. And then you saw a generation shift in the early 2000s where like women were pretty predominant. Why can't we do this together? Like, I don't care what your gender is. Like, if you get married and you put a ring on your finger, step up and do things that are not just like, hey, let's go take a walk and go to the park. That's like, It's not disingenuous. I'm sure it's lovely, but it's less fulfilling. Like when I get to call Lindsey, like, hey, I'm in Oklahoma, huge count. We won it today. She high fives me. Like there's camaraderie in that.
Yeah.
And there's bonding in winning. And there's also bonding in peace and serenity and going on those things. But what melds things together faster is fire. So the more things you endure together at a higher value without looking the other way, I think is very prominent. Like, yeah, there's a lot of tough conversations, and Lindsey probably displeased with my decision making. And I always welcome her insight. But at the end of the day, fire in our relationship has only made us look at each other like there's nobody else.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to walk through life with anybody else. Like, and my girls see that. So like, if you want to raise strong kids, be in a strong relationship or be in a circumstance that breeds strong communication. Like Lindsey was like, hey, don't have this conversation. I'm like, yes, they need to hear this. Right now they get everything they want. So they need to hear tough things to understand how it's achieved.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
If we want kids that can't run a business or that don't understand expectations or don't perform in school, shield them.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit. One of my good friends, Caden, I absolutely love his perspective because he's one of my only friends that I've talked to who got to watch his parents start from like really early startup together to watching them both be very successful in their own right now, and talk about like the felt changes throughout his childhood of like, yeah, I remember when we couldn't really go out to eat that much. And then I also remember when we were 18 and we could like had a house in Hawaii. Like, you know, and he was like able to kind of feel that whole progression. And so on the other side of that, being parents who are also founders and knowing that you've got a set of eyeballs on you, both for the big successes and for the holy shit, the world just shut down and we're in the hospitality industry.
Somebody fund this business.
Exactly. So how do you know, we were talking about the things that you choose to show somebody and the things that you choose to share with somebody, whether it's a partner, a spouse, a business partner. How do you start to loop kids into that equation, at least from your guys' point of view?
I think there's a lot of value in bringing them in, but not shaming business and entrepreneurship. So like, I think that's partially why maybe even our fear levels have always been a bit different, is because Chandler comes from a family who is entrepreneurs. They're aggressive. They've done a lot, built a lot, been very successful. So that was his vision. That's what he always saw. And it just became very normal for him from a very young age. Whereas I would say I grew up with probably a bit different experience. Like when entrepreneurship was spoken of, my dad passed away when I was young, and he would be more of an entrepreneur. And I often heard stories of like, that didn't go in his favor. And so as I grew up, I was much more like, I want safety, and that is scary, and that doesn't always pan out, which is a reality. It doesn't always pan out. But I think what we can share with our kids is like, hard work is worthwhile, and it takes endurance, and it takes a lot of time, but not painting it in a scary way of like, this could all implode and be horrible, but involve them. And I think for us, it's truly, I mean, if you're ever down here, everybody's seen our kids running around the place, probably more than I would like, running up to the bar, ordering mocktails. I mean, the girls have been back here. I don't know if I should even say that, but like, helping take the cans and put them.
It's not a sweatshop,
but they want to, like, they
our
find
8-year-old
joy
probably
in
packaged your beer.
they do, like, they're excited, or when it's busy in here, they're like, hey, can I help? Like, or my daughter sat in my chair with me as I'm making labels, like, hey, this is what we're working on, and this is what I'm creating, and that's what's taking so much time. Like, that's why I'm sitting in this office for the last 4 hours or whatever. Just trying to involve them. And I also think it's really important as parents and also as moms. I think it's harder sometimes for like a working mom, because I think moms tend to feel more guilt about things.
Horseshit.
That is a reality though.
We've had a handful of people on the podcast who have been like, I need to talk about this one thing. Yeah.
It's a fact.
Will you share about your gal that you're reading her book on?
Emma Grede. Or is that who you're referring to? Yeah. Emma, are you familiar with Emma Grede? She's a boss. She's like the CEO of Skims and Good American. So she's partnered with like the Kardashians.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast with her and Stephen Bartlett. Yeah.
So good. But she's got 4 kids and growing an empire. And I do like her approach. And one thing I actually did glean from her a lot is like, help your kids recognize that you actually love what you're doing. So a lot of times they can feel like, oh, I'm sorry I'm leaving, or, you know, I'm sorry when he's traveling. They're like, oh, you're going again. Like, don't apologize for that. Own it. Like, hey, this is the thing. This is what's happening. These are the things that we're accomplishing. Just trying to involve them as much as you can so they can see the vision, and then they think it's cool. And then they're like, oh, that's so cool. Like, oh, there's, you know, by all means at the grocery store. We had the pleasure of going up to Spanish Peaks a few months ago and launching a collaboration with them. And so the kids are seeing all these pictures and stuff. And they're like, that's incredible. And so then they start to take pride in it too. And it's not just like, hey, this business is taking my parents away, but they recognize that it's something so much bigger. So there'll be conversations where they're like, who's going to run it someday? You know, me or you? So I do think that's a really big component of having a family and having a business is involve the kids. Do your best not to feel guilty for it.
Super true.
Yeah.
It seems like it would also assign meaning to some of the sacrifice that the kids make
Absolutely.
too. You know, I remember my mom has been in the C-suite of businesses since I was a kid. And I remember just kind of like what you said about the guilt thing, is I remember my mom traveled a lot when I was a kid. And so the difference between having her do what she was doing and then my dad, who was a teacher, there's like a huge discrepancy there of like, my dad's got more of a routine. Every year is kind of the same. My mom was traveling a ton. And so I looked at that and I was like, it felt like a sacrifice every time my mom left, because I was like, damn, mom's not here anymore. But to be able to be in a position where a kid can go, yeah, my dad's gone right now, but this is why. Like, you know, we say bye to him for, you know, whatever. And then when he gets back, we get to celebrate and be like, hey, we all get to go to Oklahoma and go to the baseball game because we just got a partnership.
For sure.
I think that like, to me, that seems like such a benefit, because just like what we were talking about earlier with the spouse having the context for the kids, instead of just like sheltering them and being like, hey, I'm just going to work sometimes.
Absolutely.
But for them to know that the sacrifice that they're giving also means something, that seems like such a huge benefit. For sure.
Our oldest, last year, she had to pick any state, and do a project on it. And she comes to us, she's like, I'm picking Oklahoma. And that's just, I mean, she wouldn't even probably have known of Oklahoma. Right. We just talk about it so frequently, since that's a market that we have, you know, a lot of stake in. So it does pay off, I think, just to involve them.
Yeah.
It's been cool.
Remember, you're not just developing your business, you're developing your children.
Yeah.
This is a critical point to like your mom or your dad. My mom is a tiger. Fierce. Like, she grew up in a man's world, fought for everything she has. She's still a tiger. I mean, she's CFO of all of our real estate stuff. And she doesn't give an inch. Rightfully so. Why should she? But my point is like, some of the things that I learned from her, she developed me, and she developed my other sisters as well at the highest intellectual level. And she may not even be aware of it, but you have to be able, if you have to explain to your employees their operations, job, and priorities, you should be able to look at your kids and be like, here's the why. The most simple explanation of the why we often surpass. And I try to remind myself all the time, like, my oldest, like, their risk factor and their brains are not developed. So until they're 25, like, let's explain the why. Like, yo, girl, do you want to build this company? Where do you want it to be? And if you want it to be there, who's going to do it? Because you're not going to hire it.
Right.
So you're going to do it. You want it to be in Florida? You want to go to a vacation in Florida? Great. Tell me how you're going to get there. A, B, C, D, Y. Get me to those points. Let's have that conversation. And then, of course, she's not going to develop that. But the question still sits in her brain for the next several years. And she'd be like, yo, I want all these things. And she's like, hey, I want a horse. And I was like, great, pay for it. And she goes, how many to pay for? I was like, you tell me what business you want to develop and let's figure out how to get it there. And she goes, shoot, I want to do that. And I go, great. That sounds like you don't want a horse.
Life lessons.
Yeah, we so easily pass off the parenting because our brain is like, hey, we're in the C-suite. But the most important priority you have to have is like, and I struggle with this, so please forgive me, all of you out there in the world that hear this, is like, you have to have enough energy and intellectual ability when you get home to define those things for your kids. Because the easiest thing to do is turn on the NHL playoffs, which are going on, which are fantastic. Yep. and be like, yo, the game's on, girls. Like, make popcorn, go play with the kids.
Yeah.
Like, go play with your brother. He's terrorizing everybody, shooting darts at them. So, like, you have to be able to look at them like, this is why, and how do I develop you intellectually? So you do it. Otherwise, you know, you look at the Rockefellers, you look at the Fords, you look at all those, like, how do they, why do more pro athletes kids play professional sports than regular kids? It's because they groomed them. Mm-hmm. They intellectually prepared them to play NHL football. They told them what they were going to have to endure when they were 5. They told them how many shots they were going to take at the basketball hoop. It wasn't because Kobe Bryant was instinctually the best athlete. It's because that dude shot 400 basketballs at 5 a.m. Mm-hmm. It's because he wanted it.
Yeah.
So, like, what am I telling my 12-year-old? How you get that horse, girl?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me how you can do it. Mm-hmm. And the mom, I think this has to play into Lindsey's point of view, is like, don't have mom guilt. Like, do not do that. Guilt and empathy can be also their kryptonite when they're 30. Like, be strong. Tell them how to get it, how to achieve, how to perform, and why. And then also lead by example, which is, hey, it's critical for the Spanish Peaks label to be dynamite. It's critical for Music in the Mountains can label to be exponential for the customer. And it's not for us. It's so that when one day Ellington or our other girls, London, Charleston, like, they look at that, they can say, it's like, here's the house this was built on. Ford. I don't care. Take it. We'll never be as big as Ford. But the point is, like, the motto doesn't change. The instinctual algorithm or program in your brain doesn't change. It's like, what do you set inside? Mm-hmm. And so many times I see as parents that we are less willing to put harm on our children or fire to our kids to earn or to outperform or to take risk. I hate the word risk because everybody's like, hey, you got to fail to succeed. It's like, yeah, but
be cooler if you didn't.
I also think we can take that learning curve and move it forward. But if you do it at a younger age, like, hey, you know, Boston Hedge hits 600 golf balls and he freaking holes out since he was like 3 years old. Like, now the
he's
dude,
our daughter's 11-year-old friend who could beat you
our
in the
neighbor,
game.
yeah. He beats me in golf all the time. I hate it. It's like, you want to go golf? I'm like, no, I don't.
He'll beat me.
How do you kicking my ass?
You're 11. You're 11, you play more golf than I do. This is so disappointing. Mm-hmm. But the point is like, the younger we do it, the better.
Yeah.
The more we instill in them. And there's a part of school that I struggle with because, like, spend all this time reciting history. I'm a huge history buff. I love history. But there's also a precedence that we need to say is like, watch your mother. Mm-hmm. Stop playing games. Stop reciting stuff. Why is your mom working right now? What does she work on? Ask that question. Like, there's nothing harder in founder mode or startup mode than governance. Like, Drew, we're going to invest in a new marketing company. Who's writing all our policies and procedures? Who's writing your training mechanisms? Like, it's nothing more exhausting than putting together the 30-page document that nobody reads and building that. So those are some of the things they need to be a part of. Like, hey, read this. Tell me what I'm missing. She can't read it. But the point is that she's going to be like, what is all this and why don't you have it? Like, who's going to govern the 62 people and what sets the bylaws for how they operate and what's important? Mm-hmm. Most founders don't even do that. They just retrain people and say, hey, hospitality is showing up to Disney World. And you're like, yeah, what does that mean?
Right. Yeah, for sure. And if nobody else can articulate it, it's on the team already.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
So, and we lean so much on the culture. It's already in place to translate to new people. Mm-hmm. But sometimes that culture breaks. Mm-hmm. And then you got to recycle back through training. But I think the marital point to the kid point is like, we're way too soft on our youth. We don't involve them in our lives. And yeah, if I want my 4 children to be part of the business and not destroy it from the inside out, they need to know what it's like to starve. And they need to know what it's like to be hungry, not fail. I hate that word because everybody's like, you have to fail, you got to push, you got to achieve, and like you got to miss the hoop. No, you have to starve, you have to be hungry, you have to be aggressive. And I think those are the attributes that most people miss. Like, I don't want you to shoot an arrow into the water just to shoot it. Right. I want you to have ambition. I want you to have a focus. I want you to have a general direction. And I want you to try to execute that model and show me how you're going to execute that. Every one of the people I work with hates putting things in writing. I'm like, great. You You got a business idea, put it in writing. If it's so damn good, articulate it, write it down, show me the numbers. It's 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, you're like looking for that business pitch that you gnawing on me about for a month.
Right.
So I'm always like, my girl's like, Elle's like, great, put it in writing. So great.
And she did when she wanted a bunny rabbit. She wrote us a 5-page essay on why she should get a bunny rabbit. So then what do? We buy the bunny rabbit. Now I'm like, why in the world did I buy a bunny?
Must have been a compelling essay.
Yeah, it was.
That was Lindsey, and it completely backfired on all of us. So not all business proposals are great.
Yeah, they're not. But when you live up and you do your part of the deal, then we have to too. I'm
curious for people who are listening to this, I've been lucky in my situation where I started my business when I was 22 and I really only had me to worry about. So being willing to go to zero and to starve and things like that for me was relatively easy, right? Because I was like, I can fall on my face, and the worst thing that's going to happen is my ego is going to hurt a little bit, but like shit'll buff. I'll be all right. On the other side of that, there's a lot of people that listen to this, and because of our message of like, number one, ask the question is, what is my calling? I think that is it's a hard part, but it's the easier part. Then the second thing that comes along, which is now you have to make all of the hard decisions in your life to actually pursue it, which might mean moving somewhere, quitting a job, being in a new relationship. Like there's so many things that are all of a sudden in the balance. And sometimes putting yourself in a situation where you might go to zero or you might starve is part of that. What I'm curious about, not having been in this situation before, is when you've got a spouse that's also in that situation and you've got kids who are also a part of that equation, and you're doing something that's already working, how do you answer that call and be okay being like, okay, we're just going to do the things that are required here?
Hand me that 41 peak scan and your glass. The next one to it. I think this is important. We're going to celebrate that question.
All right.
I think
beautiful label, by the way.
Drew would know.
As somebody who tries shittily at graphic design often.
It is hard.
It's very impressive.
It is. It is a whole thing, a whole world that I'm
going to tweak one thing on your question.
Okay.
And I'm going to take it out of family.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for doing this, by the way. This
cheers. 47.
47.
Super cool.
Thank you, guys.
Super cool. Yeah. I actually don't have a problem putting precedence on my family to struggle or fight for things. Like, hey, we may not get a paycheck this month. I struggle more with employees and being like, I want you to be successful. I want you to get a pay raise. I want you to thrive in this spot. And I struggle with letting them go. I struggle with, because I see so much potential. It's like a coach in player development.
Yeah.
And so I will ask my family to sacrifice certain vacations, incomes, and things because I want them to perform. They may not be hitting their financial goals to be profitable.
Yeah.
And so that's been the biggest struggle with me, is like, I was like, man, I should have made that decision. Like, this guy really wasn't into it. Kind of half-assed it, 70%. And it cost my family $25,000. Like, shit. Like, when do you know to cut people? When is too aggressive? When is the old school blue collar, your dad's role? Like, yeah, you get it done. You're out.
Yeah.
Quick cut. Because we're dependent all on each other. It's like, I tell them, like, we're an offensive line. Okay. One guy doesn't block, quarterback gets sacked, Aaron Rodgers is done.
Yeah.
We're done. Like, it doesn't matter. I need every one of you to do your role and responsibilities. And when you're in founder or startup mode, the reality is like 30% of those guys don't block.
Yeah.
And so kind of asking your question is like, my biggest struggle is evaluating employees, evaluating how to get them to perform, and what time duration do you keep them, and how to evaluate everything you're saying, because like there's a 90-day to a 160-day window that you don't know if they're gonna be great or not. There's a spring training for a reason in baseball. Yeah. You just don't know their potential.
Right.
And then also to develop those relationships and those expectations takes time. And they're like, wow, you just put out like, hey, we've lost $15,000 per employee on this. Can we get there? Gosh, I think I've done a C+ job at managing that part of the business, because I want every person in the company to have the opportunity to perform.
Yeah.
And I tell them all the time, I'm like, my job is to put you on the field. my job's not to play shortstop. Your job's to play shortstop. You want to hit 200 in the big leagues, you ain't going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so many people that look at me with these big, massive eyes that just can't comprehend what I'm saying. I was like, yo, you're in the major leagues. You're the first baseman. Here's my expectations. There's 12 guys behind you. Like, I will coach you from the dugout and I will run the operations, but you got to perform.
Yeah.
And that's freaking hard, because somewhere in our education program or somewhere down the road, like then 7 years, I mean, there's maybe 5 people of all the people we've employed that I've looked at and be like, you have the tenacity, the leadership capabilities, you're a dog. Like, you can get it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is kind of in the business to utilize it as a base income to support whatever C+. That doesn't speak to any employees we have now. I just want to say that clearly. But I think society, you have to look at it and say, it's very difficult to get people in there that come into the business like, what are the 5 things we accomplished today? Very rarely do I have an employee come to me and say, Chan, hey, it's Monday, bud. What are the 5 things we're knocking out this week? What are we accomplishing?
Yeah.
It's very rare. And so how do you manage cash flow, performance, business execution with employment time duration and what's achievable or what's acceptable?
Okay.
You asked early on too, like, especially during that COVID time, like what propelled you forward and made you continue going versus like, let's just call it a day. And I do think it is important to note on that it wasn't just us. Like, there were so many people depending on
oh my goodness
us and on the partnership to keep this float from, just the development of the space, and all the things that you've talked about. But then you have a ton of employees who they're all looking at you too of like, hey, do I still have a job?
Right.
So I think there's so much that goes into that. And I think that's a really big part that just maybe coming from the businesses we had been in, we weren't used to like a employee field of this magnitude, employing this many people and the level of responsibility to ensure it keeps going. So I think that played into it too of like, we can't let it go. You have to see it through. I was listening to a podcast not too long ago, Victoria Beckham, and she was saying there came a point in her business where it was struggling. And she's like, but it was like, you either just have to keep going or you lose everything. And when you've put so much in, you're like, there's just no other way. You have to keep going. You have too much relying on you. And I would say we certainly felt that too of like, there's no turning back. You just have to keep going. Yeah.
The first 4 years, and a lot of people may not be able to do this, but it was like, I'm not letting you go. Like, you got a job. We'll figure out how to raise sales revenue, or we'll figure out how to put cash in the business to keep it floating.
You get gritty. And
that is super gritty. Because you look at everybody around you, you're like, this is my team. Like, this is our NBA team. Like, I'm not letting Drew go. And all of a sudden you spend an extra couple $100,000 and you probably should let them go.
Sometimes
it happens.
There is the reality.
But that's the balance. Is like, yo, do I have the NBA team here and the unknowns of like their expectations and what they'll do? And there's a few people that we lost that we shouldn't have. Yeah. Because of like just the inexperience. Like, I'm Andy McKay and I'm 60 some years old and I run a big beverage. It's not that big a deal. Like 3 people, 2 people. For us, that could be 20% of our workforce. It could be 10%. I mean, Facebook lays off 15% of the workforce. It's nationwide news. Well, that's like, could be 3 people here. Yeah, for sure. You'd be like, hey, where'd everybody go? It's quiet around here. People still got jobs. Everybody's like, hey, he's left. Do I still have a job? Like, absolutely. Yeah. But it's a huge difference for somebody in a $3 to $5 million business, $3 to $10 million business versus billions. Like 50% of the workforce is a substantial.
For sure.
Crazy.
Lindsey, I'm curious from your point, being in the position that you were in where, again, you've had exposure to business, you're in business, and you've got this now family project where it's like, okay, I'm continually growing inside of this business. I'm getting my graphic design skills. I'm like applying all of these things, right, to what you've done to contribute to this thing. For somebody who's either the partner of somebody who's an entrepreneur or somebody who's going to be asked to build a project together from somebody, what are some of the things for the wives, girlfriends, or, boyfriends who have entrepreneurial partners, what are some of the things that would be helpful for them to know or helpful for them to think about as they choose whether or not to sign up for something like that and then to like grow within it?
Couple of things. I would say one, I would ask yourself, one question I did not ask myself initially is, will I be willing to do like anything that is truly asked of me?
Before the investment.
Yeah. Before the investment, before you get into it, like never go into it just like, hey, even if it is a passion for us, that wasn't necessarily the situation, but like, even if it is something that you're like, I love this thing, like we're passionate about this, or he is, she, whatever. I would still say like, will you be willing under any circumstances, if the world shuts down, if no matter what might come your way, will you pivot and learn any facet of that business if you have to? Because you may be asked to and you're not expecting it. And the other thing I would also say on that is, if you say, yes, I want to join you and I want to do this together and I want to build the thing together, find what you love. I think for me in the beginning, when I was kind of getting my feet wet in it and trying to find my place, I was like, well, I don't really know anything about beer. And that can be a hard place when it isn't necessarily like your passion and you're trying to figure out like, yeah, we like hospitality and we like hosting, but where am I at in this whole thing? Find the thing that you love and just dig into that. So for me, I knew nothing about graphic design, but I like design. I like to make things pretty. And I like that storytelling of bringing something to life for people. And so I think that was the big thing that I'm like, okay, this is where I dig in and this is how I figure it out. So yeah. Find what you are, what can excite you in that business, and get into that. Did I answer your question?
She brought up an important thing, like before you ever put money into any business, you better be able to do everything. If Mark wants me to brew beer, I'm going to brew beer.
Yeah.
If I got to drive a truck to Oklahoma, and as soon as that threshold, I don't care if you're a silent investor, doesn't matter. You put $50,000 in a business, and if I'm unwilling to help you in marketing to be there every day with you, don't ever put money in a business. Invest in Apple, invest in Amazon, put it in the Dow Jones, call your financial advisor, get it done. But if you're going to put it into angel or startup, like don't risk it unless you're willing to do anything specifically at our level. Like when
you're young, we were jumping into this in our early 30s, just again, kind of just didn't even know necessarily fully the magnitude of probably what we were truly doing. And some of that just comes with time. Time can be the biggest way to learn. But I do think that is like a fundamental of think of everything in that business that might take it. It's going to take the marketing and it's going to take the training, the staff. It's going to take so many different things. Will you jump into that? And that's one thing I have applauded Chandler a lot for, and is taking a step back. This all came together because of a development, career. And he said, for a period, let's put that kind of at a hold and focus fully on this so I can learn and do every facet of this business so I can make it successful and I can see it through. And I think that's just what it takes.
Right. Setting that ego aside of, no, I'm just a capital partner. Yeah. I'm just the developer, and being like, nah.
No, we're getting into this.
You need me to chuck some
I'll do whatever I've got to do.
There. I got this. Yeah, get the truck.
You see the staff when I show up to pour beers. Everybody's eyes are big and like, what is he doing? You mean bus tonight?
Yeah.
There's days I've done dishes. I show up and like, we're slammed. First guy to pull up the plates.
Got to do it.
You have to ask yourself that if you are too big to clear dishes, if you are too big or too financially well to be present and you just want to look at the P&L and weigh opinions, I've watched company after company where like phone call comes in and be like, hey, the board wants us to do this. They don't think we're doing this. And like, if you're not undercover boss and you're not working those, you have no idea how to run the business. Mm-hmm. I don't give two shits if you run an oil company, you run Microsoft. If you don't know how to sell on the streets and sell beer and talk to those accounts, you're going to have no idea how to execute a sales strategy. Yeah. So like those guys that'll come in and be like, hey, when we did this, yeah, that's great. Go spend a week out there. Tell me if you still feel that way.
Yeah. It's Costco making all of their execs go and push carts. It's like you have to know at the very
You
like
have to
granular
know
level
every
how this
part.
is going to work.
It does.
It's a reality.
My production team has the greatest hearts in the world. Like, but I will come in and ask a question, and their instinctual answer is like path of least resistance. How do I get this guy away from me?
Yeah.
How do I get what I need to get? And then how do we move forward so he doesn't bother me again? So I don't fault him for it, but you have to be able to push back and be like, okay, great. I'm going to be here tomorrow. You're going to walk me through it. I'm going to brew with you, or I'm going to be on the packaging line.
Right.
And Mark's going to punch me for this, but the narrative was before we had to have 4 guys run our packaging line. We do it with 1.5 now.
Yeah.
Because we had to have certain things in certain positions and certain guys doing this. Well, as soon as we got in there and we really broke it down, like we didn't need to have it every 2 minutes. We need to have it every 15 minutes, and like QA, QC, testing overall oxygen level in beers as it goes through the packaging line. Well, you don't need to be as proactive, and that means you can basically move somebody in this position. Well, to run 4 guys on the packaging line is extremely expensive.
Right.
To run 1.5 is very profitable.
But the only way that you know that is by standing on the production line.
Yeah, and every one of those
Right.
assholes
Yeah.
told me for 2 years we need 4 people.
Right.
It didn't matter until I was like, this is unprofitable. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
How are we getting there? And they're like, oh yeah, we could probably do it that way. And you're like, well, shit. You know,
So glad I asked the question.
Yeah. I mean, I only asked it for X amount of time.
Right.
But that is the difference between buying a business or becoming a business that's stable.
Yeah.
You look at the P&L, you don't have to do anything. It grows 3%, whatever it is. You raise prices, it grows a little bit so your bottom line's a little better. When you're in the minority, as I am, as Lindsey and I are, like, we're not in the manufacturing business. Mark is. So we rely on him and his trade expertise, and he'll come back like, shit, I messed that up too. I didn't know we could do that execution. Like, well, now just me and you do it, see how fast we can get it done, because we are intellectually wanting it to get done.
Right.
Versus some employees will be like, hey, I intellectually just want to be here.
Well, I think there's a reality to that point too. And that's a big thing that we learned is nobody is ever going to care about your business the way you care about your business. And so even like we've said, even if there's not some big, catastrophic event that halts things for you, there is a reality to acknowledging that you can outsource everything, and the best professionals typically will never care the way you care. They just don't. And so you have to be willing to jump in there and to really want to get dirty with it, because I think that's the only way it really becomes the true business that you want.
Yeah.
And that you envision is if you're willing to get into it.
It's also important for the storyline. Like when I go out to accounts, they're like, who packaged that beer? I did.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, and I was in Oklahoma last week, and I was like, how old that beer is? It's 1 day. I was like, we packaged it yesterday. I put it on a truck, got it down here the next day. They're like, shut the So my people in Arizona were like, yo, this guy just brought 2-day-old beer down here. You guys want access? He's texting all his friends. They don't get access to that. Like AB InBev doesn't give them 2-day-old beer.
Right.
So they're like, we want fresh new beer from Montana. And so I've got like 5 people I'm running around Arizona trying to get them this fresh product for fun.
Yeah.
That goes to the hospitality thing too, of in any business, like going the extra mile to deliver good service and standing out.
They don't know my position or my ownership. They don't give a shit, and I don't tell them. I was like, my job is to get you beer.
Yeah.
My job is not to tell you, the CEO is going to bring you beer. They don't. They'd be like, okay, that's awkward. Why does he do it? What's he doing? First of all, I'm like, I'm the beer delivery guy. It's my job position right now. I don't no other titles matter.
Yeah.
And you have to be incredibly humble and take yourself totally out of it, which is like, it's not about you. It's not about that you own a beverage company, you own anything else. It's about getting that person that's asking for something for a product. That's it.
Yeah. I'm curious for you guys. We talked at the beginning about how the amount of irons that were in the fire at the beginning compared to how many there are now, having distribution and manufacturing and retail and a marriage and kids and like all of the things that you guys have going on. You're fighting a lot of wars on a lot of different fronts at the same time. I'm curious for each of you, what does success mean to each of you?
I'll let you go first.
Ooh. Okay. 2020 through 2023 was like a multi-frontal assault in 5 different directions, understaffed, America versus Britain.
Yeah.
Like there's no way we should have won or still be in business. We had so many great people support us. Like we have huge amounts of debt liability. The bank has a certain amount of loan covenants they can operate in. You don't meet those loan covenants. You don't make enough money. You don't hit their ratios. They're going to foreclose on all your assets. You've got partnerships, people that are like, hey, we're putting in too much cash. I can't stomach this. I don't want part of this. You got buyouts. You've got a growing sales network. You've got overstaffed production. You've got a restaurant that has no business. Like, for 3 years, we were probably in, and specific to me, I tried to keep Lindsey as close quarters as I could on this for our own marriage, because I asked for this. Like, as a husband and as a CEO or whatever your title is, like, if you ask for something, do your job. I asked to run a company. I asked to run the brewery. I self-appointed myself as CEO. I stepped up and said I wanted this responsibility. So don't whine, period. And I got more bloody noses than I wanted to. I have an incredible father. I have an incredible mother. I have an incredible wife. You lean on them when you need to. But if you ask and you say you're going to accept responsibility for the financial outcome and performance of a business, there is nobody to look at but the man in the mirror. So don't go anywhere else. And I've never been in more legal battles, more financial instability, more unknowns, more cash exiting the business than cash coming in the business than I did from 2020 to 2023. Like, complete firefight on every level. And the question you have to ask yourself is like, yeah, you want to SEAL training? Like, do you really want to be in SEALs? Do you really want to be a CEO of a company? Do you really want to earn the rights to look at somebody in the eyes and they say, this guy's not full of shit? Mm-hmm. And he's willing. And that's the only thing that lets me go toe to toe or like reach out to presidents, CEOs that are older, is like, there's not 1 ounce of me that hasn't earned that sense of it, versus like, if you give somebody else the CEO position of, by all means, excuse me, such a great point too. I just cough in the middle of it. Come on, Halls.
Makes a human.
Come on, Halls. Is you bring somebody else in here, the business is done immediately. Like, you had to earn the first 3 years to understand the importance of the next 3. So anybody that wants to run a business, never shy away from the things that develop your character. The more hardships you face, the more aggression you face, the more problems every day you face, is only maturing you to inherit the future potential of what financial gains looks like. You make $1 million a year. If I was totally 38 years old, making $1 million a year, I would probably act like a child. Right? But because I've suffered, endured, sacrificed, and I know what every penny takes to make this business, I have the maturity and intellect, hopefully at that time, to be like, we need to covet this. These are blessings. These are gifts. These are not entitlements. Mm-hmm. And building a business is not a sense of, I did this. This is about me. It's about grace. It's about gratitude for the customer base for endorsing it. And so like, at that point in time, if you don't experience the fire and you think you're a CEO, you think you're a president, and you think it's all easy and all good, the fire's ahead. Mm-hmm. Because there's no business that endures great cash flow and high gains and high growth. And every CEO gets in and says, hey, we've got a great business that makes a ton of money. So what do? They turn up the dial. Yeah. They say, oh, we're going to invest in these things. Hey, we're going to grow the business here. Hey, we're going to take our ambition and move it forward. And what they do is they take the risk. They say, hey, I'm going to put it all on red. Mm-hmm. And we're going to roll the dice when they don't need to. Because if that CEO had been there for the first 20 years before that, they'd have been like, hey, let's move the dial 4%. Right. Hey, let's improve cash flow. Let's make some small investments, but let's not risk the house and the 20,000 people that work for us and what they're enduring. And so like, you know, if you want to be put in the position and you want to be a servant of the business and you want to be in a position of leadership, then if you don't experience hardship, it's coming.
So would you say that success is more about the endurance of that hardship than it is about some kind of end result?
Oh,
good question.
If you read Steve Jobs' book on Apple, the most fluorescent, beautiful, enduring memories, even ask Tom Brady on the same thing, was not winning the Super Bowls, was losing the 5. Because it made them fight. It made them perform. When Apple was going bankrupt in the 80s, 90s, everybody on that team was 100% full send. And it's not because their financial expectation was the end result. It was because it was the necessity. We're all in this together. We're going to outperform. We're going to win. We're going to do this. And at the end of the day, I'm going to look back at you. The same thing you get with our soldiers from returning home is like, those are my boys. Drew and I went through some shit together, and you'll never take that away from us. So for founders, like, run away from adversity, run away from your team, run away from hardship. You're the first fucking guy out.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose, and the business is going to lose. So anybody getting hired into a position, make sure that whoever's hiring you is a fighter.
Yeah. It's the success of being a fighter. Or being in the fight.
You can't have one without the other. Pure. You just don't. Like, if you're 60 and you inherit a business, I get it, but you probably have a pretty stagnant business. There's only one way to perform. Any MMA person, any athlete knows it, which is outwork the other.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm more superior or smarter. I'm very not. Ask Lindsey how I structure emails. She'd be like, hey, you need somebody to help you grammatically, right? Write your emails. So I'm like, yeah, I know, but that's not the point. I just want to get it done. Send. It's like,
Just a little proofreading.
Did you read that email?
Decipher it. It's your job.
You know what I meant? You know what I meant. Summarize and clean up. So light humor is like, yes, I'm not smart. Lindsey's not smart.
Hey,
well,
speak for yourself.
I should have. My apologies, love. My super apologies.
I hear ya.
Do I want it more?
Yeah, for sure.
And everybody's like, fear of failure. Like, go fail. Don't fail. Don't fail.
See it through.
Just want it more.
Yeah.
Just like Mark was laughing the other day. He's like, we have a delivery driver, has to go to Missoula. He brings this massive semi. He gets here like 4 a.m. His shift starts at 11. Mark's like, hey, Russell's coming tomorrow. I was like, am I there at 5 a.m. or you? It's like, no, I'll take this one. 5 a.m. He works till 6. You don't give a shit. Russell's picking up our inventory, taking it to the northwest part of the state, and he's driving. He starts at 11. So Mark's first position is like, Russell's been up since 11. I'm going to be here at 5.
Yeah.
And sometimes Russ gets here at 4:30 because he's
awesome.
like, yo, Costco wasn't open yet. So I was like, he's like, come pick up your guys' order. I'm like, I don't care what the time is.
Yeah.
I just don't care. We have a young guy on our staff. I'm like, yo, bud, what time is it? And he goes, it's this time. I go, can you work? He goes, no. I go, that's the problem. Like, you can have both. You can have a wife, you can have kids, but you can look at your wife and kids and be like, I need to exercise this option to get this work done today. I need you to sacrifice. I've missed birthdays, like, and Lindsay's pretty hard about this. Like, she's like, hey, one day you're gonna look back and miss this. I'm like, and my counter response is like, one day my kids are gonna ask where I was at and why I was sacrificing not on their birthday so they could have X, Y, Z. And I think it's important for them to understand. So like the fact that we think we need to pander or cater to our kids' birthday or to something else or to, hey, that our first prioritization is like, you better have a career. You better have livelihood. And if you don't have livelihood or a career or a future for your own success, like your family's going to struggle anyway. So like I've heard a lot of people say, oh, my first priority is my family. That's great until you don't have a job. Once you have a job, your family's going to ask you and look at you and be like, you're failing us. So you still have to have a higher prioritization of like, I'm 97% career focused. And then I will make those adjustments and shifts to accommodate my family's needs. But as soon as you don't have income, everyone in your family is going to look at you and be like, what the fuck's going on?
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
What did you mess up? So I struggle with some of the younger people's mindset, which is like, why are you here? What do you want to accomplish? Like, I just need a job. I'm like, boy.
Yeah. Gotta ask the question, what are they here to do?
Yeah. Did I answer your question well enough?
I think so.
I hope so. Sorry.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
All right. What does success mean to you?
I would say it's being able to live out all the things that you feel called to do. I think there's a big conversation about like balance. And again, I think this is predominantly women who want to balance both. Like you want to be a great mom, and I do want to be there on the birthdays, and I want to have, you know, the kindergarten graduation. I'm going to be in the front row. Like I want to be there for those things, but I actually love working and find a lot of fulfillment in that and what I'm creating and what we're creating together. So I think success is being able to have all the different things that make you, that make you thrive and make you the best version of you without feeling the guilt and without having to say, you know, in this season, I can't do that thing. I think you can bring all the different things together that you love: motherhood, work. You know, I like sourdough. This morning, I was actually thinking about it this morning. My 3-year-old and I were literally making granola after I had just like had, you know, got a bunch of work done, go make granola, thinking about this. Like, I'm like, this is cool. Being able to be multifaceted and do different things. I think that's success. And I will say too, like we've talked a lot here about the hardship of this. There is no denying, like it has been a journey that has pushed us and challenged us, but I do think it has grown us in the last handful of years more than like literally anything else. Mm-hmm. And I think it's also really special because for me personally, like the business that I was in beforehand was extremely successful. Like on paper, financially, it looked like, I mean, it was kind of the dream. It was a unicorn thing, but I didn't own it. And it took one 30-minute phone call for it to end and them to say, hey, we're doing something different. And this business that you guys have known for 15 years is no longer. And I think that gave me such a deeper appreciation for this company and to anybody who's like starting a business and doing something. It is brutal, but it is yours. And you may have to dig your feet in more than you expect to have to, but at least it's your thing to dig into and you have say of the outcome. And I think that is really important and can be very overlooked. It can be a lot easier to, you know, show up to a job or do something, which there's no harm in that either. To each their own, different things for different people. But I do think that's important.
I think it's important to note, like, she did not tell you that you were going to be rich with success.
Right. Yeah.
Like, this is an important caveat that people think like, oh, I'm going to make $10 million. I'm going to go retire at Center Beach. That is not success. That is not performance. That is not fulfillment. That is not life. Mm-hmm. So people say, I was like, hey, what does success look like? It looks like you're in a position to have fulfillment, to live every day with a purpose, and to have excitement and things that move you forward that gain you financial opportunity. So success should be written totally different. As like, oh, he makes X amount of dollars. He's got a house here and there. That shit's a liability.
Yeah.
That's a complete liability. That's expenses, gardener, all these other things, houses, travel, things. Like success is putting yourself in a position to find fulfillment, to find love, passion, and financial gain.
And I think it's through that process too. I mean, don't you feel like you talk to so many people who've built something and they're always like, I got there. I got to the place that I thought like this was the end all. This was everything I was wanting. And you're like, it's not as cool as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that's like every story.
Jesse threw that out there on on your guys' last episode. Scales, like she's a boss.
Yeah.
Right. She was like, yo, I got there and I was like,
kind of unfulfilled by this.
Where's my, where am I at?
And that's at like every level. I feel like you hear that. And so I do think success is finding joy. Like when you are joyful in the journey and you love what you're doing and you can be multifaceted and push yourself and grow and not always just be longing for the end, not longing for the end goal, but sincerely enjoying your life and enjoying the process.
I can live pretty poor if I'm fulfilled. Mm-hmm. Like I can make the ultimate sacrifice. Same with you. Like
that said, though, I think there is importance to know, like, money also can't be shamed. I don't think it's like the goal of having money, but I think money opens doors in your life. Like, I don't want to live poor. I'll be the first to say, like, I don't want to work my ass off to be poor. Like, that is not my goal. And that's not my goal for anyone on this team. You want to come work with us. Let's go. Let's dig in. Like, I was listening to the Bostics today. I like them. And there was someone on who's like, hey, you want to show up and you could work here for 2 years. Like I have people come to me and they're like, I've been here for 2 years. I'm ready for my pay raise. And she's like, well, did you do more than that to get the pay raise? If so, let's go. And if not, you're just going to get what you worked for.
Sure.
So I think let's not have a goal to not excel. Let's build the big thing, be ready to get as gritty and endure as much as you're going to have to prosper, to do well, not just for the sake of money, but for what that can do for your life.
Yeah. To be clear, Drew, do you want to add to that, or do you want me to?
One sec. I have to text my girl real quick until I'm not going to make her tour.
Oh, you go.
No, you guys are good.
Yo, miss, they won't stop talking. How do I get them?
You can totally stop us. We can be done.
Tell her we'll buy her dinner. Come out.
No, you guys are perfect.
What time is it? I don't even know.
5:45.
Okay. My mom's right here with our kids too.
I was like, what are we going to talk about for an hour? I don't know what else to say. Oh, you'd be surprised. You'll be surprised.
I think a lot of times that money is actually a byproduct of all the other things that you're talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like money is a byproduct of having something where you feel fulfilled and living a lifestyle where all of the things that you're doing are things that you're passionate about enough to make the sacrifices that are required to be a good partner, to be a good parent, to be a good business owner. And I think that when you're doing all of those things, money is a symptom that comes from the way that you're living your life.
Yeah.
And I think reverse engineering all of that, the point and like the game becomes finding things that you care enough about and feel fulfilling enough about to actually commit yourself to.
Yes.
Because then the money comes from that.
For sure.
Because you're willing to show up at 4 a.m. You're willing to do all the things that it takes. And if money is a byproduct of that, awesome.
Yes.
Just
but if
don't
money
expect
becomes
it,
the goal, you're not willing to show up in that way.
For sure.
So
Amen.
it's just the only caveat, because that's 100% right, is like, don't expect it the first 6 years. Like if you're not in a 25 year for, your podcast and your marketing program and your media company, get the fuck out. Like,
Right. And if you're passionate about it, what else would you want to be doing for 25
zero.
years?
Like, that's it, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
And you're going to be an expert by year 6.
Right.
And then that's when the doors open. Like, Lindsay's like, yo, you still want to be in this? I'm like, girl.
I don't say that really anymore.
Well,
There's been certainly moments, but
Let's
we're
say she did say
we're
that.
in a constant push. And so I think that's where sometimes like he's like, hey, we're going to open this new market. So it's like, we're opening many businesses all the time. Like it's not just what people see here. It's the expansion of, hey, we're going to go start a whole new team in this area and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And you're like, my goodness. Like, okay. So you're always biting off a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And so that's where sometimes I'm like, we want to do, we're good. Okay. Are we not good? Okay.
Yeah.
But you keep going. Again, that is where you grow. And then I also think there's something so cool to be said about like, there are really hard days. And then there's the cool days where like last week when he's in Oklahoma, he's calling me every day, like this happened and this happened and this happened. And I think there's so much that can be the success too, is like, oh, these are wins. Let's celebrate this. This is worthwhile. And this is what makes life like fun, you know? So the good and the bad go together.
Always.
You both had a ton of wisdom though. I think we have to look at the monetary, because that's the, like, people look at the scoreboard all the time. It's like, yo, what's the scoreboard? Am I making more money or not? Like, gosh, I tell my time, like cooks all the time. I'm like, I hope like, yeah, what is giving you fulfillment? Like, is plating food, like, are you putting out the best artisan type product? Like or is the only like monetary, like, we have to, as a society, take away the get rich program, the TikToks, the Instagram bullshit that you brought, to the forefront of this conversation, which is like, of course we're going to market the things that are sexy or the things that we think appeal to the human instinct, which is success or money. Yeah. But it's really not. It's like, take the best wine in the world. Yeah. Take the best companies in the world. They're 80 years old. The best companies in the world are 80 years old. Outside of NVIDIA. And it's still 30 years.
It takes time.
100%.
So like some things are, but that's like the 3% of the market. I mean, the S&P 500 is every 500 companies, there's only 7 on it that are outperforming. The other 493 are average or are barely performing right now. That's insane. That means we're all struggling and fighting in the economy to make relevancy. So like, a little bit of wisdom or or sense of understanding of what's going on in the economy and what we're all facing is you can paint the picture that we're all growing, but it ain't the 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah, which is an interesting point too, because it's like, okay, if the best companies statistically in the world are doing okay, breaking even, just keeping up with status quo, then it's got to be about something that's more than that. Has to be. Mm-hmm. And so I think finding that is the thing. And if you make, I mean, to your point, $1 that you make for yourself is worth way more than $1 that somebody else gives to you.
For sure.
And I think that at that point, being somebody who eats shit for 6 years doing paintings, and then on year 7, you make it into a gallery and you start selling them for $50,000 a piece.
Yeah.
I would argue that making $30,000 a year slinging paintings at farmers markets, I would say that you're richer than somebody who's making $150,000 working on Wall Street as an analyst who's eating shit and working, 70-hour weeks when they hate it.
And exactly.
Because their
and
dad told them they had to.
Like it.
Dude, but the end point of that mindset is don't quit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't quit.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes 2 years and they think they don't have it.
Right.
And it's like, dude, if I went 2 years in this business, we
wouldn't be sitting here.
Oh, not even close. It's
sure.
like, don't ever, I don't know how many people I'm like, don't change. Every time you have a career change, you move into a different field, you move to a different place, different thing, you have to restart. Mm-hmm. The only way you get great at something is you work for Drew for 6 years. Mm-hmm. And then you look back and be like, here's how I'm going to crush this. Here's how I'm going to drive revenue. Mm-hmm. Here's how we're going to run operations. And here's how I'm going to lead the company for the next 6 years. But for the first 6 years, you're just in survival mode and education product cycles. You just really
learning.
And at the end of the day too, like I think in a lot of ways you owe it to yourself to get to year 6 or year 7.
For sure.
Because if you're going to don't do it to yourself to quit when you're in the early phases, you're in the torture, you're in the survival mode, because at that point, for what?
Mm-hmm. Well, and so, I mean, I can liken this to motherhood, and anyone who's a mom listening, like a lot of people actually love the baby stage, but a lot of people are like, it's not my favorite stage, or pregnancy is not my favorite, but you have to go through that too to get to the part that you're like, this is so fun, and I love this season or whatever. Yes, exactly. You gotta go through some shit. Anything in life, you kind of got to endure parts that you're like, this might not be my favorite season, but I'm getting to the season that I love, and that's going to bring me so much joy and fulfillment. And so you have to keep going.
Yeah, one of my homies said the other day, we were at dinner, and he goes, I'd adopt a 2-year-old. I don't want it to. I don't want it. 0 through 2, it doesn't sound that much fun.
Yeah. We can learn so much from the mothers in this world.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been incredible. I think that your guys' story has so much that's relevant to new business owners, people who are still in the fight, and people who need to recalibrate a little bit after they've gotten to year 7. They're like, oh yeah, this is what success means to me. Sure, the P&Ls are cool, but this is what it's about. So my goal with this whole show is to get people to figure out what their calling is and actually do it. And I think that your guys' story on so many fronts has been just a beautiful example of that. So
thank you.
I know with all the things you guys have going on right now, carving out a couple hours to do this is a lot. So I really appreciate you guys making the time.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's been fun.
Thank you to you. Thank you for what you're doing with the podcast. It's really beautiful. I think as a listener and as somebody I think I listened to 5 or 6 in the last several weeks, you also heal our hearts. You give us an opportunity to hear other people's stories. So thank you for taking the time to invest in it and seeing it as a career path for yourself and as an opportunity to, there's so much wisdom. You can read a book, but if you listen to an hour podcast, it's so healing, and to give you an opportunity. So what you're doing to give entrepreneurs their story, to get it out, maybe 10 entrepreneurs hear this and they're like, oh shit. Yeah. Okay, we are on the right path. We save their business.
Right.
We give them an opportunity to say this is worth it. And I'm just maybe don't have a mentor around me that says this is acceptable.
Right.
So cheers to you.
Truly
what Lindsey and I go through is awesome, but to be able to put it in a format that lets other people hear it is a blessing. So thank you.
Yeah. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
We'll get Mark in here.
All the science talk will come out.
Oh, we're going to hear about microbiology.
He's going to be all right.
Sampling. Drew's going to got a hat on backwards. Just things are going to real change here.
Yeah. We'll do a little, the garden after hours.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you.
Adios, everybody.